What's going on, people? No, I don't want to rotate device. Rotate it this way. Are you seriously only going to let me... Sorry for the technical difficulties here. It's not... What the hell? I don't want to rotate my device. I want it to be this way. What's going on, man? Hopefully I don't have to restart this video. It's telling me to rotate my device, and I don't want to. I want it to be landscape. Seriously? What's going on, everybody? I'm trying to... For whatever reason, the damn thing doesn't want to let me rotate my phone. Let me know how it looks. Is it actually showing up the way that I'm holding it, or does it look fucked up? Alright, well, I guess I'm just going to hold it this way. I hate having to do it like this. I don't know why the fuck it's letting me do that. Nickelback is the most diverse band ever. Goddamn can't say that without laughing. Neither can I. Ha! It's a joke. Alright. So let's see here. What's going on, Luis? You guys let me know, is it actually switching my video to landscape when I hold it this way? Because it says rotate device for some reason, even though I've filmed Q&As like this before. I don't know why the hell it's doing this. So please let me know if I hold it this way, is it still showing the video in portrait, or is it showing it in landscape? What's going on, Doug? Are you guys hearing me? Is everything coming through? Are you guys hearing me okay? Is everything coming through? I want to hold it landscape. I don't know why it's not letting me. It's ridiculous. It's in portrait mode. Okay. Well, that fucking blows. Well, I guess I'm just going to hold it like this, and it's going to look like shit for anybody that watches it when it's not live. But, oh well. So what you guys up to? 1,100 subscribers. Holy shit. I got to get that out of the way first. That is awesome. Portrait. Yep. Alright. Fucking technology. I've done 3 live videos before and can totally hold it in landscape, and now I'm doing my big over 1,000 damn subscriber Q&A, and it won't let me hold it in landscape. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, rotate device. Bastard. Lucas says, congratulations. Thank you. Luis is sitting back waiting for the premiere of The Mist. Yeah, let me know how it is. I love the movie, but I'm not sure if I'm up for the TV show or not. Stephen King adaptations in a TV show don't seem to work out too well. For those of you that watched Under the Dome, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it could work out. Who knows? I'm often surprised. Well, before you guys start throwing your questions in, I have a question for you. Unless any of you have been following me from the very beginning, you're not going to know what this show is unless you went back to my early videos. But I used to do this Hollywood Highlights, and it was basically like a movie talk show where I would do movie news stories, and I would just film one video going over movie news. I'm debating on doing that again, but they weren't really big. They weren't really big on views, and it's partly because I was a brand new channel and I didn't know how to market myself back then. But would any of you guys be interested in seeing those if I decided to bring it back, either in video form or in podcast form, and put your preference too? So let me know if that sounds like a cool idea, and then start firing in your questions. Half of the crew in the movie is casting of Walking Dead. Yeah, they are. You got the guy who played oh shit, what the hell is his name? The one that had the hots for Andrea, and then he got ripped in half. I forget this. Dale. Yeah, Dale. You had Andrea. You had Sam Witwer, who was in Walking Dead for one scene. A couple other people, but yeah. If you haven't seen The Mist, guys, definitely check out The Mist. That's a badass movie that does not get enough credit. George Hernandez, what's up, man? Congrats. Thank you. Very happy, 1,100. I got like 100 subscribers overnight over that Nickelback rant, so that's pretty awesome. Sean Alexander Jr. asked, "What did you think of the Black Panther trailer?" I liked it. It's kind of more of a teaser, really. It just gives you a lot of visuals. It shows you the actors who are going to be in it. It doesn't really dive too much into the story, but the visuals look awesome. I loved Black Panther and Civil War, so I'm really excited for the movie. I think Ryan Coogler is a badass director, so I want to see what he can do. And it's just going to be a really cool movie, I think. I doubt it's going to disappoint whatsoever. Did the trailer excite me any more for it than I already was? Not really, but it didn't disappoint me by any means. So I thought it was a cool trailer. Luis Carol also, yeah, she was in it. That's right. She was the one who, whenever that ending comes, she's the one who kind of signals the ending. So she was in it. Did anybody like the idea? And we're back. All right. What's the next movie you are looking forward to watch? Um, it's going to be a little while, actually. I'm not looking for, well, it's already out. I'm not going to see Transformers. I have no interest in that. The Beguiled looks interesting. I'm probably going to see that if I have a chance to tomorrow, which I don't know if I will or not. Um, what the hell comes out next week? Baby Driver probably is the next one that I'll actually look forward to going to see. I think that comes out next week. Despicable Me 3, I could take it or leave it. I got kids, so I'm sure I'll end up seeing it. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's probably the biggest one that I'm looking forward to that's coming up soon, but I do think that Baby Driver is going to be interesting. Any new TV show you discover or watching? Not really. I just finished up Better Call Saul. That ended up this past weekend, or this past Monday, actually, season 3 of that. That was a really good season that kind of petered out towards the end, and it was a really underwhelming finale. But that's a really good show, especially if you're a Breaking Bad fan. As far as new shows, not really. I'm looking forward to this female wrestling show. What is it? Glow on Netflix. That looks like that's going to be kind of cool. And me and Holly are piecing our way through Orange Is the New Black. She's a fanatic of that show. I've kind of lost interest the past couple of seasons, but we are watching that. Johnny Flame, you should do movie news and the video form. Okay, cool. There's one vote for video form and one vote for hell yeah, bring it back. Awesome. George Hernandez, hell yeah, Baby Driver, Spider-Man looks good, but the trailers are giving away too much. Yeah, I haven't even watched the last couple of trailers. I watched the 2 that I reacted to, and that's it. It's one of those Amazing Spider-Man 2 situations where they're going to give away all the best scenes. They're going to give away all the biggest action sequences. They're going to give away all the best jokes. They might even give away the damn final scene of the movie, the final shot, which is one of my biggest pet peeves. So I have not bothered with a lot of the trailers. White Tim, what up, Cody? What's up, White Tim? Langley Productions, what's going on, man? Lucas Ferrer, did you say Orphan is the new black? Maybe I did. I don't know. It's easy to fuck up on camera. Orange is the new black. But now that you remind me, Orphan Black is back on. I think they're like 3 episodes in, so I will be starting to watch that here once it gets a couple episodes in. I like to binge watch that show because it's wild as hell. I don't want to wait week to week. So once that's a few more episodes in, I'll start watching Orphan Black. So maybe I gave both of my answers in one word. I just kind of mashed them together. Langley Productions, you got to 1.1 thousand fast. Congrats, man. Yeah, like I was telling them, I got basically over 100 subscribers in less than a day from my Chad Kroger rant. God, I've gotten a ton of comments on that video, a ton of likes, and I put a Facebook post, but I'll tell you what, 3 things that I learned from doing that video from the comment section is that, 1, apparently I'm a lot funnier and a lot more creative with profanity than I give myself credit for. 2 is that people who do, in fact, defend Chad Kroger and Nickelback have no idea why they're defending them and can't defend them. They just say, leave them alone, or they're actually really good and can't tell you why. And number 3 is, holy fuck, people hate Nickelback. I've gotten like 100 fuck Nickelback comments, and that's all they say is fuck Nickelback. So that's awesome. Will Smith, I think new Spider-Man will flop somehow. It doesn't look that good. I don't think it's going to flop at all, dude. It's going to be real financially successful. It might not be as critically acclaimed as, say, Spider-Man 2. I don't expect it to, because Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy is my favorite as far as the Spider-Man movies. I even love the third one. You know, I know people hate it and people have a lot of problems with it, but I love those 3 movies. I don't expect Homecoming to be better than that. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to open a lot of doors, which is a story I'm actually going to be getting into on my Hollywood Highlights video, and I'll probably record that after I'm done with this, actually. But I'm looking forward to it. Lucas, thanks for the tip. I'll try Orphan is the New Black. Yeah, check it out. It's about clones in prison. Will Smith, Lucas, what up, Lost Boy? Luis, I was wanting to see Wish Upon, but thinking I should wait till Netflix or something. Well, keep an eye on my review, and I'll tell you if it should be a seat on Netflix or not, because I will be seeing that one. I have no idea what it's about. I'm not going to watch a trailer. That's kind of my method for seeing horror movies anymore, is I don't bother with a trailer. I like, it comes at night. All I knew is it was supposed to be scary, and it had Joel Edgerton in it. Went to go see it, and though I didn't end up loving the movie, I definitely experienced it the best by not watching the trailers, because the trailers horribly mismarketed that movie. White Tim, Nickelback needs to just shut up. It's really just Chad Kroeger, honestly. I've never heard or seen anything bad about any of the other 3 guys. Mike Kroeger, his brother, is the bass player. I think the drummer's name is Daniel. The guitarist's name is Ryan Peake. And I know that because I was actually a fan of them back in the early days when they weren't fags. But basically, Chad Kroeger is kind of the problem. It's not necessarily the band. I don't really hold it against the band. And even if you listen to Corey Taylor's rebuttal, he doesn't hold it against the band either. He actually is big fans and big, decent friends with their other guys. It's just Chad Kroeger who's the problem. He's an arrogant fuck. He acts like he is God's gift to songwriting. He acts like he is the greatest thing in the world, and everybody should just get down and kiss his dick. And he's just a prick. I have never... Ever since I actually started diving into music news and Nickelback started really going super radio-oriented, cheesy pop music, I've had my distaste for him, and the more I learn about the guy, the more I dislike him. And this Corey Taylor thing makes me hate him definitively, where I will never give his music another chance. White Tim, have you seen the editor's cut of Spider-Man 3? No, I don't really plan to either. It's like, 2 minutes shorter or something like that. The few things that I've read about it say that it's not really all that different. It just kind of changes the scenes and cuts a few things here and there. I don't know what you would add to that movie by cutting out 2 minutes. Like I said, I really enjoy it. They did fuck up Venom a little bit. There is a little bit too much going on. They pretty much reduced, once again, Kirsten Dunst to being a damsel in distress, and that's her only point in the movie, is to cause problems for Spider-Man, and that's the worst thing you can do with your love interest, is do that. So there are problems with that movie that I fully acknowledge that is not going to be fixed by cutting 2 minutes out of the movie, but I still enjoy the hell out of it. So I really don't have the desire to watch another cut, because I enjoy the one that we have perfectly fine. Langley Productions, I don't expect Homecoming to fail as much as Transformers 5. It only made $15 million in the box office so far, and I'm glad. This is what I'm telling you. People are voting with their wallets much more nowadays, and they're keen to the fact that the movie sucks. People are a lot more savvy nowadays with finding reviews and channels like mine, and keeping up with the news about what's going on with productions and movies much more than they ever have. And people know that if you didn't like what they did in 2, you didn't like what they did in 3, you didn't like what they did in 4, you're really not going to fucking like what they did with this one, so save your money. People are saving their money, and even though Michael Bay claims to not want to come back for the 6th one, he said that the past 3 movies, if this one fails, they'll drastically have to change their direction for this franchise, and they need to, because I have zero interest in the direction they're going in right now. I would love to see a Transformers movie that would intrigue me, but I liked the first one, hated the second one, never bothered with 3 or 4. Sure as fuck not going to bother with 5, because I'm not going to do the homework of having to watch 3 and 4 to tell what the hell's going on in 5. So I want a complete refresh of that franchise, because it's something that could be cool, but they're not doing it. So I'm glad that it's going to fail. Lucas, trailers have been terrible indeed for Spider-Man, I guess. I haven't had a problem with them, but like I said, I only watched the first 2. There's a little bit too much Iron Man, but they're doing that for advertisement reasons. to make sure that everybody knows this is in the MCU. Like, people don't understand that. Will Smith, not flopping money cents, just think it will be the same as Amazing Spider-Man movies. People don't care about them. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of excitement after Civil War, so I think people are excited. I just think that they're cautious, for sure. George Hernandez, are you a fan of Marvel's Netflix shows? Nickelback had badass records in the past. Giving up on Avril was a bit cheap. Yeah, exactly. Even the fakest girl in music couldn't stand that motherfucker for very long. Fan of Marvel's Netflix shows. I'm a fan of two of them. I was a big fan of the first season of Daredevil. I liked, but I didn't love it as much as everybody else. I really liked the first season of Jessica Jones much more than everybody else. I fucking loved season 2 of Daredevil, and I cannot wait for The Punisher. Now, what the hell? Luke Cage, didn't like that at all. It bored the piss out of me. It was interesting at first, and then it got so corny and cheesy and just hokey that I did not enjoy it, and it just dragged and dragged, and some of the decisions they made with the villains was just weird. And I could only get through 2 episodes of Iron Fist. I refused to spend 13 hours in that show because those 2 episodes were horrible. Apparently, the way to watch that season is to start at like episode 6, but I just don't have the time or the interest to work that hard to like a show. If you don't hook me in the first 2 episodes, you don't deserve my attention. So I'm a fan of half of them so far. Am I looking forward to the Defenders? Because I'm sure that's kind of the reason why you're asking. Kind of. They haven't really shown anything that's blown me away yet. I don't know what exactly the story is going to be. I don't know. You've already shit the bed with Danny Rand and Iron Fist. And again, I'm not really loving what they're doing with Luke Cage. So those elements of the show, are they still going to be not very enjoyable for me and I just want to see Jessica Jones and Daredevil do shit? Or are they actually going to use them properly in this one? I have no idea. White Tim, to me it made Spider-Man 3 go from a 2 to a 2.5. Well, in the briefest way possible, put exactly what they changed or what was better about it. I'm curious, because if it's something drastic, yeah, I'd love to see it. Jafito, congrats on 1100, Cody. Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad you are here to experience this with me and not doing things to progress your channel. Just come and hang out with me, Jeff. That's an inside joke, guys. The Blue Corner, next one is a Bumblebee spinoff. It's already without Bay. Yeah, and again, I don't really... I'd have to see a trailer for it. A spinoff of what we've already had in the Michael Bay universe doesn't really interest me all that much. I think supposedly it's supposed to be in the 80s, which interests me a little bit, but again, I have no attachment to the character because I haven't watched the movies that he's been in since 2008, 2009, whenever the second one came out, so I don't know, man. A Bumblebee spinoff, I guess we'll see. George Hernandez stopped watching after Dark of the Moon. Yeah, I didn't even bother with Dark of the Moon, and I just had no interest to ever catch up, because I've never heard anybody defend any of those movies. It's always, yeah, they suck. That's all I ever hear. Will Smith, Avril is a vampire. She's young, looking young, like Keanu Reeves. Yeah, she does look really young. Scene 68, what's up, Cody? I agree, Iron Fist was lame. What's going on, man? Yeah, it was terrible. Sean Alexander, Iron Fist is lame. Yeah, see? Everybody agrees. Will Smith, Legion is a great show. I've heard that. Tyler Tompkins, actually, the guy I've collaborated with, I'm good friends with, told me that show is like the best superhero show ever. So I'm definitely interested in checking it out. The problem is I'm the only person who's interested in checking it out. I could never convince Holly to watch an X-Men television show. So it's one of those things where I'll have to wait till it comes out on Blu-ray, and I'll have to kind of sneak in a few episodes here and there. But I'm interested in it. I wasn't until everybody started saying how good it looked, or how good it was, because it didn't really hook me with the trailers. Doug Melvin, yeah, Iron Fist was lame. I didn't make it through the second episode yet. I might not even made it through the second episode. I think I'm right there with you. I think I got halfway through it and I said, fuck this, and did something else. So I think 1.5 episodes is actually the true answer of how much I got through on that show. Scene 68, Legion is good. Dave L. Favorite David Fincher film, Seven or Zodiac for me? My favorite David Fincher film is, oh man, that's hard. Probably Seven. I think Seven edges out pretty much everything just because of how shocking that movie is and how inventive it is and how genius it is. Fight Club is a close second. I loved Gone Girl. I love Social Network, which I didn't think I was going to. I'm a big fan of Zodiac, but that's a movie I'm not in the mood to watch very often because it's very long and very slow. And he's honestly the only reason I'm interested in World War Z 2. So yeah, I'm a big David Fincher fan. He's probably my top 3 directors of all time, but 7 would be my favorite. The Blue Corner, and I was nowhere near CP when he did the Knock Knock video or The Shower. Yeah, he kind of roped you into that one. Doug Melvin, Alien 3, LOL. Oh, Jesus Christ. I fucking hate that movie. It's not David Fincher's fault at all, but I fucking hate that movie. White Tim, they changed restaurant scene and such so the continuity is back on track. It shows more how the black suit is like a drug to Peter. Well, that interests me a little bit. I might see it, man. I might check it out. If I get bored one day, like leading up to Spider-Man Homecoming, I might want to watch a couple Spider-Man movies. Maybe I'll check out the director or the editor's cut just to compare. Though I haven't seen Spider-Man 3 in so long, I'm not even sure if I'd recognize the changes. Sean Alexander, The Hitman's Bodyguard, any comments? It looks fucking hilarious. Looks hilarious. Cannot wait to see it. I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I have always loved that guy. Even the shitty movies that he does, somehow I still like The Change Up that everybody shits on. I love that damn movie. And I haven't loved everything that he's done, but for the most part, I always enjoy watching him. And Samuel L. Jackson's awesome, and he's hilarious. And the direction they're going with that and the humor that I've seen in the first trailer, and I'm not going to watch anything else, looks hilarious. So I can't wait to see that. Will Smith, Sense8 is a dope show, but you need to be very invested in it. Yeah, that's a tall order for me with, 3 kids, one of them being 7-month-old, and a girlfriend who's very picky with the shows that she watches or that she's interested in. So it's hard for me to watch a show that is something that I really have to pay attention to, because I basically will have to wait until around this time of night if I'm lucky to actually dive into it, and that's assuming I'm not dog-ass tired from work. But I'll check it out, hopefully. Or at least I'll check out what the hell the show's about, because I'm not sure what it is. Raspberry 3.6.0. Are you hyped for Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets? Not in the least. I don't have any interest whatsoever in that movie. The director, it doesn't really impress me all that much. His older stuff, like Leon, I've never seen The Fifth Element. I know people are probably going to scream at me in the comment section, but I've never seen the one that he's known for, Fifth Element, which seems to be what he's kind of going for as like a throwback, and this one is that, space opera kind of thing. But the trailers haven't interested me, and I'm not really a big, space, sci-fi, blockbuster action kind of guy. It just doesn't really interest me. I'll probably see it for a review, and hopefully I'll be genuinely surprised with how good it is, but I would not bet any money on that movie succeeding financially or critically. George Hernandez, I've only watched season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil. I can't wait for The Punisher. Yeah, The Punisher, dude, oh my god. And that second season of Daredevil, that is everything I have ever wanted to see from The Punisher. I love The Punisher. That's easily... He's not technically a superhero, but he's one of my favorite Marvel characters by far. I have a lot of the comics. I've always loved the character. I played the video games back in the day. I'm one of the few people you'll find who actually really likes the Thomas Jane movie. I didn't really care for the one that they came out after with that. The one that was really, really hyper violent. What the hell was it called? Punisher Warzone. That one was just okay. But I love the fact that they are just nailing the Punisher in that. Doug Melvin, so do I. Johnny Flame, what do you want to see in the reboot of Halloween? I want to see simplicity. I want to see them get back to what made the original great. I want to see Michael as a human who is just empty and evil and dark and motiveless. Just a guy who is out there just because he is evil. I don't want to see zombie Michael. I don't want to see slow walking Michael. I don't want to see Rob Zombie's Michael. I don't really even want to see any ties to Laurie Strode or any family. I just want to see a simple story of people getting picked off by Michael Myers for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And it seems like that's what Danny McBride is going for. It seems like that's exactly what he wants. That's what he really holds on to as far as what he loves about that character. So that is what I want to see. George Hernandez, your alien list blew my brain to Kingdom Come when I saw it the other day. Ha. My alien ranking, I guess. Well, what blew your mind about it? My ranking, as far as what movies, I know I have a controversial list. I said that at the beginning of the movie, or beginning of the video. I've got Alien 3 at the bottom, even over AVP Requiem, which people get shocked by. I have Alien Resurrection over both of the Ridley Scott prequels. Watch my video for my justifications why, but I totally stand by my ranking. But I'm glad it blew your mind. That was the intention of doing that video, is to ruffle some feathers. Scene 68, what do you think of the It film coming out, and are you going to see it? It looks pretty good. You're damn right I'm going to see it. That's my most anticipated movie of the year since I saw that first trailer. I have wanted an It remake for years. It is the one movie that I have used for an example time and time again when people say, what movie should be remade? I always say Stephen King's It, because the more time goes on and the more I rewatch that original miniseries, the more I realize it's not that great. The only thing that really stands the test of time and makes that thing iconic is Pennywise. Tim Curry's performance is Pennywise. Everything else about that movie you could easily make better, and that seems like what they're going for with this. And I think everybody's really excited for it. I think it's going to be a box office smash, and I think they are going to double down and do part 2 of it as the adults immediately. I think you're going to see an announcement within a month after that movie hits. You're going to see an announcement that they're starting production on the second half of it. But yes, I am psyched for it. And if it breaks my heart, I'm going to be crushed. Rad movie guy. I recently bought the Muppets movies. What did you think of these? Honestly, I don't remember anything about them, bro. I wasn't a big Muppets guy when I was a kid. You know, I remember Muppet Treasure Island and Muppets in Space and stuff like that, but I don't honestly remember much about the movies themselves. I never got a chance to watch the one that Jason Segel kind of reinvented. So I've always loved the characters of the Muppets, like the little bit that I've seen them and a little I remember of them, but I don't remember shit about the movies. Jafito Valerian looks cool visually. Looking forward to seeing it in 3D, but it will probably bomb hard. I think it's going to bomb financially. It might be one of those John Carter situations where a lot of people who are into that actually really like the movie, but it's not going to make any money. I can almost bet money on it. Doug Melvin, looking forward to Cult of Chucky. Hell yes, I am, because Curse of Chucky was awesome. I think the fact that we're getting more Chucky movies after Seed of Chucky is like a godsend, because that movie was so fucking horrible, it should have killed Chucky permanently. And it breaks my heart to say that, because behind Freddy, Chucky is my second favorite horror icon of all time. But the fact that Curse of Chucky came out straight to VOD, and it has the qualities of a theatrical movie, and it's awesome, and it ties into some really cool things with the lore, and you get backstory, and it incorporates Tiffany and all that kind of stuff, so it's not really ignoring other movies. The fact that they pulled all that off is awesome, so I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Cult of Chucky. I just hope, because rumblings are that the Glenda character is coming back. If they do bring it back, I hope they're smart enough to do it well, because holy shit, like, I can't put into words how horrible Seed of Chucky is. If I ever review that series, which I'm sure I will eventually, I have a really horrifying story about how I first saw Seed of Chucky in theaters. It was one of the most miserable nights of my life. Will Smith, I like Punisher movie with Jane. Great movie. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It takes a lot from the comic book storyline Welcome Home Frank, which is written by the guys that do the Preacher comic. And it's one of those things where there's things that they do that's a little hokey in the movie. There's things that they do that doesn't quite translate from that comic storyline so well, but it's really enjoyable. I really like it. I think John Travolta's a cool villain in it. I like the comedic aspects of it. I think Thomas Jane is an awesome fucking Punisher. Like, if he would have gotten another chance to do a movie with maybe a little bit better script and a better director and a studio that gave that director more freedom, because there's a ton of production issues with that movie. They actually made him scrap the entire first 15 minutes of his movie that the whole rest of the movie kind of hinged on. There's a scene in Kuwait. Then I think he would still be doing Punisher movies, because he was awesome. White Tim, I love the Punisher, but not looking forward to the show. To me, he doesn't work well solo. Well, we'll see. He's definitely a great side character, but I think I don't know if you've read any of the comics or not, but if you read some of the comics, especially some of the Punisher Max series, and like Welcome Back Frank especially is probably the best one, he has awesome stories to tell by himself. So if they translate that well, it'll work. Trying to catch up, guys. Sorry if I'm kind of lagging a little bit. I'll try to go a little quicker. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm way behind. I've not liked the Spider-Man trailers. Looks generic for a Spider-Man movie. I'm totally seeing expectations. Rad movie guy. I expect it's going to be fun. I expect it's going to be... I hate saying this. I expect they're going to fuck up the villain, because that's just Marvel. And the only rumblings I've heard from the movie is that Vulture's weak. And I expect that it's going to be a crowd pleaser. It's going to make a lot of money. I don't think it's going to be the best Spider-Man movie ever. Stranger Things Season 1 was amazing. I felt like a child all over again. Yes, I did too. That was a great series. Can't wait for Season 2. Scene 68, no more Rob Zombie Michael, LOL. Yeah. I enjoy the second one, but I just don't want, I don't want that Michael anymore. What do you want from the movie It? I want it to be scary as fuck. I want the kids to be great and charismatic. I want them to be memorable. I want them to have great back and forth. I want Pennywise to be yet again a horror icon in a completely different performance. I don't want people to look at this and say, well, Pennywise is always going to be Tim Curry because this guy just didn't quite nail it. I love Tim Curry, but I want this guy to be so fucking scary that Tim Curry's Pennywise looks like Bozo the Clown. That's what I want. George Hernandez, Fifth Element's badass. You're missing out on a classic. I own it, just haven't watched it. Jane film was badass. Didn't take long for Stevenson to screw it up. Yeah, I don't know if I blame him necessarily. They had a weird direction with that movie. Raspberry, yes, because people are going to be like, oh, Spider-Man and Transformers and oh, Star Wars, like, what happens when the rights expire? You guys are going to be like, why don't we get original movies? Well, here's why. We get tons of original movies, man. We get more original movies nowadays than we've ever gotten. Problem is, nobody goes and fucking sees them. Everybody goes to see Spider-Man and Transformers and, Marvel movies and Batman, but nobody will go see movies like The Nice Guys. Nobody will go see movies like It Comes at Night. Nobody will go see movies like Get Out's the exception, but movies like Get Out usually don't succeed very well. We get tons of original movies. That's the biggest myth in Hollywood and amongst movie fans right now, is that we don't get anything original anymore. We do. Nobody goes to support them. So studios don't put money into them. They know that they will get money back from Transformers 5. They know they'll get money back from Iron Man 6. They know that they'll get money back from the billionth Friday the 13th remake, or another fucking origin story for Leatherface. So that's why they make so many of those movies and they market those movies so heavily, because they know they're almost guaranteed money. Doug Melvin's Zombie ruined Halloween by far. Yeah, I could do a separate video on Rob Zombie and his horrible filmmaking. I enjoy Halloween 2 and aspects of it, but even that's not a great movie. Will Smith, people need to check out Hemlock Grove. I've always heard good things about it. I do need to check that out. Halloween 2018, going to be Halloween Returns. Shit. Trying to catch up, guys. Sorry. Oh, man. If you've read the script, question mark. I haven't read the script. I'm not sure. Shut the hell up, Raspberry. I'm okay. Don't get into fights. And they will be the rights to star. Congrats. Married Movie Reviews. Congrats on 1100. It's awesome. Yes, thank you. It is awesome. Very proud. David L., have you read any Stephen King books? I read about a third of It. He's a very strange writer. He's a genius. I love a lot of his movies, but he's a very strange writer. Once I got to the line in It where it was talking about the character Stan losing his virginity to his wife, and the actual quote on the page, and I still remember it to this day, is his penis rose out of his gingery pubic hairs like an exclamation point. That is Stephen King's writing. Weird shit like that. So it turned me off. I'm not really a big reader to begin with. I like reading a lot of like music, biographies, autobiographies, things like that. I'm not really big into reading fiction. As weird as that sounds, because I love movies, but I'm not a big reader. Have you ever seen Dead Alive? I have not. I need to, though, because I always hear about it. Johnny Flame, you should review the Scream films, and do you enjoy them? I enjoy them a lot more nowadays than I did when they first came out. It took me a long time to warm up to Scream, but I like them quite a bit now. I will review them eventually. Why don't you like Halloween 4? I do like Halloween 4. Eventually, I'll get back to my Halloween reviews. I did my ranking probably a little prematurely. I had never seen Halloween 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, and 6 until last year. I had only seen the first two, the Rob Zombie ones, H2O and Resurrection. And I think it's a lot of time has passed since the era that Halloween 4 came out, and it was just an awkward watch for me because I'm such a huge fan of the original and the original Michael Myers and the original tone and John Carpenter, what he did with that I'm not as big of a fan of a lot of the sequels because I feel like they fuck up a lot what makes that original great. So I'm kind of a Michael Myers original Halloween purist, I guess. So I enjoy Halloween 4 as a slasher movie, but I don't think it's anywhere near the best of the franchise. I know people love it. Like Lee from Drum Dums, that's one of his favorite ones. Are you hyped for The Dark Tower? Asked Raspberry. I'm not hyped for it. I think it looks cool. It looks interesting. It looks a little bit more action blockbuster than I thought. Being that it's a Stephen King book, I expected something a little bit darker, I guess, a little scarier. But it does look badass. Like some of the scenes that it showed, like with the way he moves his guns around and loads his gun. I love the two leads. Like Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey are badass. So I'm really looking forward to it. Am I hyped for it? No. But I've never read the books. Rad Movie Guy, have you seen the trailer for Escape from Cannibal Farm? Have not. Looks like a Texas Chainsaw ripoff. Sounds like a Texas Chainsaw ripoff. A lot of arguing going on, people. Why are you arguing so much? Be friends. We're all friends here. Scene 68. With all these remakes and reboots nowadays, do you think a Scream remake could work? I don't think they need to remake it. I think they need to just continue the series. It's no reason to remake Scream because the entire concept of that movie is kind of commenting on the current state of horror while that movie comes out. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all did it. So all they need to do is continue it. If they don't want to call it Scream 5, don't call it Scream 5. You can call it whatever you want, but commenting on today's state of horror movies and being very meta with the state of movies right now is all they need to do, and it won't be a remake of the original Scream. If they try to remake Scream in the sense of remaking a movie that is meta and commentating on the state of 90s slashers, it wouldn't work at all. George Hernandez, I've only seen the original one in Covenant. I heard it goes downhill with Resurrection. If Glenn comes back, it's time to reboot. Yeah, I mean, Alien and Aliens are genius films in their own respective genres. They're very different movies. Alien 3 is a fucking abomination, especially if you're a fan of Aliens. I know that it has its defenders. I fucking hate that movie. Alien Resurrection gets a lot worse of a reputation than it deserves. I know a lot of people hate it. They put it at the bottom of the list, but it's a fun movie. It's a B movie. It's trying to be a B movie. I don't even view it as part of continuity. It's just a fun movie to watch. AVP Requiem. AVP is a lot of fun for what it's supposed to be. It was actually my number 2, I think, or number 3 on my list. Requiem's garbage. And Prometheus and Alien Covenant are extremely subjective. You're either going to love them or you're not going to like them at all. Abbott Skelding, what's up, man? Have you listened to Alice Cooper's new song, Paranoid Personality? No, I didn't even know he had one out. I need to check that out. Rad Movie Guy, Escape from the Cannibal Farm. I have to check it out. What did you think of Scream 4? I love Scream 4. Honestly, the third one is the only one that I don't love. The third one I still like. I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be. It's definitely the weakest of the franchise, but Scream 4... If I was to rank the Scream series, and keep in mind, 1, 2, and 4 are like razor blades away from being on top of each other. It's more like a 3-way tie for number 1, and then Scream 3 is my number 2. But I would put Scream 2 as my favorite, Scream 4 is my second favorite, Scream 3 is my third favorite, and then obviously Scream... Oh, wait. I fucked that up. Scream 2 is my favorite, Scream 4 is my second favorite, the original Scream is my third favorite, and then Scream 3 is the least favorite. Too many Screams in there. I was confusing myself. But the only reason the first one's not at the top of my list is because I said it took me a long time to warm up to that movie. And by the time I warmed up to it, a lot of the genius of it had dissipated over time. But I love Scream 4. Nice Guys was awesome. Yes, it was. Cure for Wellness was good too. Alright, starting to go quicker, guys. Chad sucks. Yes, he does. Have you watched Gotham? Asked Raspberry. I have no interest in seeing Gotham. I'm not interested in a Batman TV show without Batman. Claudia, I didn't see a notification for this. How you doing, Claudia? Yeah, whenever I do mobile Q&As, it doesn't send notifications. It doesn't send a link or anything. It's kind of a work in progress. I hope they're going to make it a lot better. Unfortunately, this is the only way I can go live because my computer CPU can't handle live streams. It'll be like looking at me through a 90s television. But yeah, sorry I didn't give a notification. I'd put it out on Facebook, but obviously everybody's not on my Facebook. Jonathan Hayden, what's going on, man? White Tim, Lee is coming in to scold you on how you're wrong on Halloween 4. Bring it on, Lee. I don't hate Halloween 4 by any means. It's just not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. I enjoy it more the more I watch it, though. I will say that. So maybe if I watch it a third and fourth time, I'll be up on Lee's level. But Lee had the pleasure of seeing it while it was in theaters when Michael Myers was dead for a long time, whenever they had the whole debacle with Halloween 3 not having Myers. So had I been such a Halloween fan when Halloween 4 came out, and I was actually in my adult years when that movie came out and was able to see it in theaters, I would have a lot of the same love that Lee has for it, because the appeal of seeing your favorite horror movie icon resurrected on the big screen in what many people in the franchise who are fans of the franchise would call a great movie has got to be amazing. So I have no question whatsoever why he loves that movie so much. Raspberry, Sony screws up everything. Please no screwing up Dark Tower. Yeah, they've been fucking up a lot lately. Especially that fucking Uncharted movie, bastards. Not even out yet and I already hate it. Rad Movie Guy, you could do a Scream remake and comment on the idea of so many remakes. Well, I mean, they kind of did that with Scream 4. There was a lot of remake commentary on that one and reboot commentary, so they kind of already done that. Raspberry, do you think Universal should continue with the Dark Universe out of the Mummy lost 90 million? It didn't lose 90 million, unless my facts aren't straight. It made a profit overseas. It fucking blew over here domestically, but it's making money. It's going to make a profit. So yeah, they're definitely going to continue it. I think it has a chance with Bill Condon directing Bride of Frankenstein, the director of Beauty and the Beast. I think Bride of Frankenstein is a huge mistake to go with your second movie. They need to do something that's really going to get people back on board with this franchise, and doing it with a character like that. I'm not shitting on Bride of Frankenstein, but that's a movie that needs to come later, after you've introduced Frankenstein. So I think that would be a huge mistake for them to do that. They will continue it. I hope they learn from the mistakes they made in The Mummy, which are giant fucking mistakes. They need to reboot it with, or they need to get back on track with either Frankenstein, or with The Invisible Man, or with Creature from the Black Lagoon. I want them to do a character we haven't seen in a while. And as much as I want them to really deliver on a Dracula movie, I want them to get their shit straight before they even bother touching Dracula. Do not fuck up Dracula for the millionth time. Johnny Flame, what do you think of Friday the 13th game? I got a review out for it. I enjoyed it. I have no desire to keep playing it all that much because it gets extremely repetitive. I finally got to play as Jason, and it's a totally different game when you're playing as Jason. That's what you want to do. The counselor shit's fun, but it's really repetitive, and Jason is really overpowered. The game's got a lot of bugs still. The game doesn't have nearly enough in it to justify a $50 price point, which is the main negative that I put in my review. But it's fun, and it gives you everything that you want from a Friday the 13th game, is if you're a fan of the franchise. Can you do more videos like you did on Stone Sour Criticism, even though I don't totally agree on Taste of Music? The video is awesome. Rad Movie Guy. Yeah, I don't want to make it necessarily an expectation that I do a bunch of rant videos, but I will definitely do it if news comes out that justifies it. Like, I was even debating on not doing that video, but then I saw, for whatever reason, it just stuck with me. Usually shit like that I can let go, but for whatever, it was stewing in my mind for like a day and a half. So I wanted to get on camera and just put my thoughts out there as a Stone Sour fanatic, as a Corey Taylor fanatic, and as a Chad Kroger fucking despiser, especially now. I wanted to put my 2 cents out there, and it paid off because not only am I really happy with the video, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy it, but it's kicking ass with views, with likes, with my tags ranking really high, and I'm nervous about doing more of those videos for the sake of doing those videos because I don't want to create a huge subscriber base off of people that just want to see me cuss at the camera about things that piss me off. So I do want to do more of those videos, but only if the story comes out that justifies it. Will Smith, intro of Scream 4 is a little weak. Yeah, it's interesting. It's not the best opening of the series by any. It's probably the weakest opening of any of those movies, even the third one. But I don't think it's bad. It's funny because it rips on remakes and sequels and shit. Doug Melvin, I know you're a metal fan. Have you heard Iced Earth's new album? It's badass. I have not. I actually haven't listened to Iced Earth since Tim Ripper Owens left it. I only really knew of that band because Tim Ripper Owens went over to him, so I haven't really been following them too much. But I'll check it out if you say it's awesome, because I'm always looking for new music. Because it's a dry well for rock and metal anymore. Remaking Scream's an awful idea given the whole point of the movie, not to mention it's barely 20 years old. I mean, yeah, like I said, just do a sequel. Let's see. Do you plan on reviewing my favorite movie, The Crow? Eventually. I mean, there's so many movies that I'd love to review, guys. It's just a matter of time. And like I said, it takes, depending on how much passion I put into the review and wanting to put a lot of production into it and make sure I cover every single thing that I want to say in the video. Sometimes those movie reviews take like 5-6 hours, so I want to eventually. Let me see. Nathan Chris, hey man, calm down. I heard that you. Oh shit! Hang on. God damn it! The thing keeps moving. Calm down. I heard that you scream at the movies. Is that right? Yes, and I had to sing the nice song before I see your horrible movies. I guess I'm out of the loop on the joke there. Uncharted 4 was beautiful. Yes, it was amazing. Playtime Sid, how's it going? What's going on? Nathan, Chris. Okay, I guess you're a troll. Just whatever. Fuck off. Get out of here. Scene 68, what do you think of James Wan helping with the Resident Evil film reboot? I think he's the right man for the job, considering he's been good with horror lately. I'm only interested in it if they're going to follow the story and the characters of the games. Even if James Wan's behind it, if they're going to do some new story with some new characters, I don't care. So, if they're going to do the story of the first movie in the mansion with Chris and with Jill and with Wesker, all for it. If not, don't give a fuck. Raspberry do live reaction to Fifth Element before Valerian. Let me see. No, they didn't add in the budget on Wiki. It's 190 million. I don't know how The Mummy lost 90 million. It's made over 300 million in its third week. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it. I don't think it lost any money at all. I think it's actually already profited. Brandon, how you doing? Hey, what's going on, Brandon? I'm doing good. They didn't add it. Oh, come on. Playtime Sid, Wolfman. Wolfman again. They had the one with Anthony Hopkins and with Benicio. They've had that one. We haven't had a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. Haven't had an Invisible Man movie in forever. So they need to do something. Even Frankenstein. We haven't had like a big Frankenstein movie in years. Of course, he was a small character in some, one-offs like Victor Frankenstein and some weird shit, I Frankenstein, but not like a true Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So they need to do one of those. Rad movie guy, I like Dracula Untold a lot. I never actually saw it. People scared me away from it. George Hernandez, crazy relative cliche is Scream overstayed. It's welcome when 4 got made. It was downright annoying when Piper was unmasked as Emma's sister. I mean, to each their own, dude. I loved Scream 4. I thought that the whole third act of that movie was wild. But I'm not passionate enough about it to argue about it. So if anybody really dislikes anything about Scream 4, I'll just chalk it up to each their own. Raspberry, look up on Deadline the Mummy box office loss. Well, the Mummy's still in theaters, so it's still too early to call it a loss. But for everything that I've heard and read said that it's kicking ass overseas. So I don't know. Last I heard, it wasn't. But again, I'm not solidified enough in that like I know everything about it, because I don't. I haven't researched it whatsoever. Johnny Flame, if you create a horror movie, what would the premise be? Funny you ask, because there's a show that I'm going to be premiering as soon as Zach from Zach versus the Blu-ray Mountain actually gets me his footage, because I collabed with him on it, where it's a show called Pitch Wars. And what we're going to be doing is I will choose a topic. It's going to be like a monthly show if it succeeds. I'm going to choose a topic, and me and my guest will write a summarized script, choose the director, choose our actors, and we will both pitch our movies to you guys, and at the end of the video, you will vote on which movie you want to get made. And the first episode that me and Zach did is create your own modern slasher movie. So I'm going to save the answer to that question for that video, because that is exactly the movie that I wrote, is my own original slasher movie. And not to stroke my own ego, but it's fucking badass. So I hope you guys will really like it. I'm really anxious to get that video out. Like I said, I'm just waiting on Zach's footage so I can start editing it. Chad's net worth is 60 million and Corey's net worth is 20 million, man. People really want Chad dead. I guess. I mean, Chad, the problem with him is he just won't shut the fuck up. The fact that everybody hates his band. He hates the fact that everybody hates him. He hates the fact that joke, but he makes it worse himself. If he wants to stop that, the way to stop it is to write a good fucking album. Don't write radio pop bullshit. Write a aggressive rock album and let your music speak for itself. If Nickelback came out, and I know they just had a new album come out, I refuse to listen to it because of everything that just came out with Chad Kroeger, but everything I've read about it says that it's half-ish more aggressive music, what they promised, and half or more than half of the album is the same old poppy radio bullshit. So, not a comeback album, but the way that they need to do it, if they came out with an album today that was kick-ass, aggressive rock, hard rock, or even metal possibly, I've never heard a metal Nickelback song, so it's a fucking stretch, but if they came out with that and just shut their mouths, mostly Kroger, because I don't hear anything from the other guys, the music would speak for itself. And all the Nickelback haters would not say a word, because they wouldn't have any room to stand on. where we live in. Claudia, it's a classic, Robert. Not because Brandon died. Yeah, The Crow's a classic. Rad movie guy. I didn't like the villain of Dracula, but the rest was awesome. Well, Dracula should be the villain, so that's a weird direction that movie went in. That's why I was kind of turned off on it. Lack of cliches. The Powers has amazing Spider-Man ripoff of the Bats trying to save his wife while she's falling. Yeah, I don't know that. I've never had interest in watching that movie. Carlos Regan, attention everyone, I'm a movie star, so everyone must like me. Please, I'm jealous. Wan, nobody likes me, so you guys are awesome. Okay. Man, sorry. No, yeah, it's all good, man. I lost a signal for a minute whenever I first came on. Langley, I'm doing a Q&A, guys. All right, good. I'm back. What are you expecting to see in Star Wars Episode 8? I'm expecting to see things get very dark, very grim. I'm expecting to see at least hints of who the fuck Snoke is. I'm expecting to see the answer to who Rey's parents are. If that's even a real integral question to be answered in this franchise. I know that's the question that everybody's hinging on because family and heritage is kind of like the big thing that kind of holds Star Wars, drag shit out for the sake of dragging it out. And I hope it's going to be very character focused, and I hope it's going to be very unique, like a new age version of Empire. Exorcist or The Shining? The Shining. I've never been big on The Exorcist. I've always thought it was overrated, but then I was kind of past the time of being impressed by that movie by the time I saw it. It's definitely iconic, but I love The Shining. And that movie blows me away more every time I watch it. White Tim, we've had an Invisible Man movie, not from Universal, but with Kevin Bacon. Yeah, Hollow Man. Hollow Man's a kick-ass movie. Paul Verhoeven, that's a really good movie. It's not technically an Invisible Man movie, but it is kind of. It's not the Universal classic monster Invisible Man, but I, Frankenstein and Victor Frankenstein was amazing, bro. What are you talking about? Just kidding. Oh, okay, good. I was about to say, really? Just kidding, but I think Victor Frankenstein was pretty underrated. I never saw it. I never really had interest in it. Okay. Robert Trickle, speaking of The Mummy, what are your thoughts on the 1999 movies and its sequels and spin-offs? And if so, are they go out and buy it? Just curious since the new movie is coming out. Okay, the first one is a go out and buy it. I actually rewatched it after I saw the new one. It still holds up in my opinion. It's a lot of fun. It's got some genuinely scary moments in it. Brendan Fraser is great. I think Rachel Weisz is great. I think John Hannah is great. I think Arnold Vosloo is awesome as the villain. He's a sympathetic villain because he has motivations that's understandable, trying to reincarnate his love. I think the action scenes they're still impressive for what they were able to do at the time. And that's part of the reason why The Mummy pissed me off, because The Mummy tried to do things the new Mummy tried to do things that the 1999 movie did that was at the time. It's no longer revolutionary in 2017. But the first one's go out and buy it. Haven't seen the other ones in a long time, but the second one is to see it on Netflix. Got a lot of problems, but still a lot of fun. The third one is absolutely the Tomb of the Emperor Dragon or whatever the fuck it was. Terrible. And like a low see it on Netflix. But the first one's absolutely worth seeing and buying. It's a classic in my mind. George Hernandez, Uncharted is badass. I regret not checking out the first three when they came out. Did a huge speed run when 4 came out. It was a beautiful series. Definitely go back and check them out. It's going to be hard to play the first one because there's a lot of advancements they made with the gameplay in the later sequels that you're going to feel restricted, not being able to do certain things. But you can get the trilogy. First one's awesome. The second one's my favorite. The third one is my least favorite of this franchise, but it's still an amazing game. I just don't like some of the things they did with the story. And the fourth one is fucking phenomenal, flawless. Barely edged out by 2. Rotten Tomatoes is now destroying everything. I don't blame Rotten Tomatoes. I blame people putting too much value and putting too much, hinging too much of their opinion on Rotten Tomatoes. Because the critics who actually work for Rotten Tomatoes are as unpredictable as the fucking weather. Because they will trash movie like, what the hell was that movie that just came out? The Accountant with Ben Affleck. They will trash that movie for weird reasons. If you're like, they start talking about like Trump's America and shit like that that have nothing to do with the movie. But then you get a movie like Paul Feig's Ghostbusters, which is a fucking terrible movie, and it has like a 70 something, like 73, 74%. So Rotten Tomatoes is a very interesting concept. It's definitely, it has its purpose. It is important to a degree, but I don't give those critics any mind whatsoever. If I'm interested in the movie, I don't care if Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 0%. I'm still going to go see it. Curl up with your Hello Kitty pillow and shut up. Yeah. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, that's what Corey Taylor said to Chad Kroeger. Along with the genius line of, I've won sexiest man in rock wearing a mask, and you've been voted ugliest guy in rock twice without a mask. So that's all he had to say, and I was like, I love Corey Taylor. That is why I love you, Corey. Hello, Jax. My dog's joining the party. Hello, buddy. The Suicide Squad petition to shut it down is literally a signal to what is coming. I'm unfamiliar with that petition. I would love to see a Birds of Prey movie or a solo Joker film. I don't know, man, because this is the thing. First of all, I mean, DC's got to win me back a little bit more. I loved Wonder Woman. You guys know I loved Wonder Woman, but I still have my reservations of Justice League, and I still have no idea what to expect after Justice League. If it's going to actually keep the movies we already have in canon, or if it's going to basically reboot the franchise, like those movies don't even matter anymore, I have no idea. But I'm just not too keen on Batman villains not being in a Batman movie. That was part of the problem with Suicide Squad to me, is that we should have gotten Harley Quinn and Joker and some of these other guys like Deadshot in a Batman movie before we saw them in Suicide Squad. Part of that's because they're rushing, but they're doing Gotham City Sirens. David Ayer, the guy who directed Suicide Squad, is going to direct that, and it's going to be Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy in like a team-up movie. But I don't want to see them in a non-Batman movie first. I don't want to see Catwoman get introduced in a side story. I don't want to see Poison Ivy get introduced in a side story. And honestly, I don't want to see all the Batman villains be the protagonists in all these movies, because even though Suicide Squad does everything it can to remind you that they're bad guys, because it inserts it into the fucking dialogue time and time again about, remember, we're the bad guys. But the movie does not portray them as the bad guys. It portrays them as the heroes. And I don't want to see Joker and Harley Quinn and Deadshot and Killer Croc and Black Mask and whoever the hell else they're going to put in side stories be good guys, or somewhat good guys, or misunderstood bad guys. I want them to be fucking evil. So I'm very passionate on Batman and Batman characters, so that's, forgive me, I guess, but I have no interest in a Joker film, because I don't want to see an origin story for Joker. I don't want to see Joker without Batman, and I'd have no interest in a Birds of Prey or a Gotham City Sirens or anything until they debut in a Batman film. Raspberry would love to see an Overwatch movie. Have you guys played it? Yeah, I have no idea how they'd make a movie out of it. I've played it. A buddy of mine, Anthony, is a fanatic over that game. I'm not a big multiplayer game guy, so I played it a little bit and got bored with it. Raspberry, the rating system, because they don't highlight the average rating, they just highlight the percentage of critics. Less of the fault of the website, that's more on the fault of people not understanding how Rotten Tomatoes works, because say a film gets 50%. They look at that as, well, this movie, they look at it like it's grade school, like you got a 50% on your test. Well, this movie must suck. Well, they don't look at it as, no, that's an aggregate. 50% of critics loved it or liked it, and 50% of critics didn't care for it or hated it. They don't view it that way because they don't understand how it works. And maybe it's the fault of the website for not explaining it or displaying it correctly, but that's more the fault of people that don't know how to use the website. Claudia, Corey was voted sexiest man in rock. I'm sure he has. That's what he says. Corey doesn't lie. Zach Pope, congrats. Thanks, man. Are you excited for the Uncharted spinoff Lost Legacy? Yes, I am. What's your favorite game you're excited to play after 3? Probably God of War, honestly, just because it looks so fan. I loved the first one when it first came out. I liked the second one. It was a little bit more the same. I liked 3 because it was on the new PlayStation 3 at the time, so it was graphically incredible, but it was, again, more of the same. And the character of Kratos has never really been somebody that I've really identified with, but this looks like it's going to change that. Looks like it's going to be more story driven. Looks like he's going to be all together, and I'm just really psyched to see what they do with that. But yeah, I am looking forward to. I don't know how long it's going to be, if it's a game or if it's going to be like a long side story. But anything Uncharted has my interest. That makes sense about it. There's ways they can do it, but DC doesn't earn my trust to trust them to do that just yet. Like an example for the early scores for Despicable Me has 91%, but if you look at average rating, it's 6.6, which means it's like an average kids movie. Well, yeah, like I said, that's just people. That's people that don't understand the website. I understand what you're saying though. It's misleading the uninformed. No, the lore of Overwatch for the fanboys. Yeah, possibly. Robert Trickle, you know who I don't want to see in the DCEU again? Rick and Suicide Squad. Rick Flag is too much of a generic patriot. And that's due to the lack of writing in that movie. They gave David Ayer like 4 weeks to write that entire script. Joel Kinnaman's a phenomenal actor. He has not gotten the chance to show everybody he's a phenomenal actor yet, unless you've seen The Killing, the show on FX. Or was it AMC? AMC. But he's a phenomenal actor, so it's not his fault. Even those who hate RoboCop, that movie's not his fault. But Rick Flag could be a cool character, although they put so much advertisement around the big actors and the big villains like Will Smith, like Harley Quinn, the Joker, that regular old army veteran guy Rick Flag seems to be like a character to be a fucking hell of a lot better character if you had a good writer and time to write the damn script. So I wouldn't judge Rick Flag too harshly on that first movie, but I understand what you're saying. Will Smith, stream stops very often on my part. My bad, man. It shows very bad connection regardless how strong of a connection I have, so it's hard for me to do anything about it. I'm right next to my... And I'm back. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. Like, the actors that would play Reaper would be the guy that played El Diablo in Suicide Squad and Ryan Gosling as Soldier 76. Yeah, possibly. I think Overwatch, it's an interesting game. I don't know if it's movie material yet. I don't know if you could necessarily translate all those characters to the screen and have a story wrapped around it, but, you know, stranger things have happened. Is it me or is Vin Diesel a trash actor but we love him anyways? Yeah, he's not a very good actor. I mean, he does good whenever the story... Fast 5, he's utilized well. In even the first Fast and Furious, I think he was utilized well. The later Fast and the Furious movies, his acting weaknesses really start to show because the only thing he does is say family, 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 and that's the only thing he gets to do. He gets to not emote very much for going on. He always looks like he's everything alive, so he doesn't really ever look scared or genuine. He's not the kind of actor who's ever going to win an Oscar. He's the type of actor just like charismatic, but when he's not used to his strength, his acting weaknesses really show. Playtime Sid, congrats on the subs. Have you watched any? My girlfriend actually texted me like 2 days ago. I guess somebody from her class told her about Black Mirror, and she's really interested to check it out. So I've been kind of waiting to check it out with her. But now that we're both interested, I'll be checking it out here once Orange is the New once Orange is the New Black is off. Maybe if I sit forward. For whatever reason, maybe it'll get a better internet connection. Maybe not. Damn, I caught all the way up. I didn't think I was ever going to catch up on the questions. Wait, Cody hasn't watched Black Mirror. No, I haven't seen it yet. I actually didn't even know what the hell it was until Playtime Sid told me on my last episode by episode kind of sci-fi series, so that it interests me. I mean, he had a chance to carry a movie in The Last Witch Hunter and Triple X. Like, what the fuck were those pieces of trash? Never saw either of them. Never had any confidence in them. Never had any interest in them. I thought Triple X 1 sucked. So I definitely didn't want the third one. Last Witch Hunter, again, never really interested. He's not somebody who can lead movies and carry movies. The only reason he succeeds where he succeeds in the Fast and the Furious franchise is because of the cast that surrounds him. Playtime Sid, Orange is the New Black is a damn good show, too. I really liked Orange is the New Black Season 1. I really liked Season 2. Season 3 disappointed me. Season 4, I liked half of it, was disappointed in half of it. It was kind of like peaks and valleys all season. This season has kind of been a decent beginning, a really slow middle, and now I'm on episode 12. And the past like 2 or 3 episodes have been really intense. So I don't know how it's going to end, but to me, they've gotten rid of a lot of the most charismatic and interesting characters. Like they got rid of Pornstash, they got rid of Jason Biggs' character, they got rid of the chick from Point Break, they got rid of obviously. Well, spoil. Nah, I'm not even gonna spoil it. They killed a character last season who was a really good character, so now they're gone too. And it just seems like the more characters that leave the show for whatever reason, the weaker it gets. Yeah, he gets carried. Like, give it to The Rock, please. The Rock's a genuinely good actor for what he does. I love The Rock. A lot of his movies I don't. But you cannot deny the guy is an awesome dude because to say hello to his fans, to take pictures with his fans, to hug his fans, to give props and stuff like that to his fans. You always see him doing charity work. The dude's hardworking as hell. Like he's always filming something. The dude has no downtime. So even though a lot of his movies I don't love, I love The Rock as a person a lot. And he is a much stronger actor than Vin Diesel. He's got a lot more charisma. The dude is just born to be an entertainer. I prefer Oz to Orange is the New Black. I never saw Oz. I always heard it was a good show. Raspberry, you know what would be sick if Mark Wahlberg was in Fast and Furious? Maybe he could team up with Charlize Theron. I'm sure he'll be in there eventually. They're gonna get everybody in those fucking movies eventually. They're gonna have, um, the big rumor is that Matt Damon's gonna be in the new one because they shared like a poster that had Matt Damon on the front of it wearing like some kind of a thing over his face. They're gonna get a new big actor in every single one of the sequels that they do from now on until they stop making those movies. Eventually, like if they make Fast 15, it's gonna be like 25 cast members. Will Smith. Will Smith, Claudia, LOL, shows to compare them. Okay. Scene 68. Do you honestly think Tom Holland can do Nathan Drake justice? All right, here's the deal. For those of you that loved my Chad Kroger rant, the last rant that I did was an Uncharted rant whenever they released the news that they were going to be going with a younger Nathan Drake. They were going to make this a Tom Holland vehicle. They're going to try to capitalize on his popularity that they assume he's going to have after Spider-Man Homecoming to give life to this Uncharted franchise that they've been trying to get off the ground since 2010. And I was fucking pissed because I love the video games so much. And this could be, like a lot of video game movies that came before it, this could be the one video game to finally break the trend that video games suck ass. And they had a script writer or screenplay written by, oh damn, I'm gonna fucking forget his name. The director from The Gray and oh shit. Now I knew the dude's name up until here. Anyway, they had a really good screenwriter. He's the guy who did A-Team and he did The Gray, like I said, and Joe Carnahan. So they had Joe Carnahan screenwriting the script, and he is a big Uncharted fan. He had said in many interviews and said things that let me know he's a passionate fan of the franchise. And you have to have somebody who's a fan of the franchise to write this movie and to make this movie, because otherwise you're going to fuck something up and you're not going to get what makes the games great, because you're either going to watch clips of it on YouTube or you're going to get some studio exec telling you what the games are about instead of knowing in your heart as a fan what makes these games great. So they had his script, and a week or two after he finally finished his script, they tore the motherfucker up and said, never mind, we're not going to do a direct adaptation of Drake's Fortune. We're going to do he like first meets up with Sully, and it's going to be like an origin story, and it's going to be a prequel to the video games, and we're going to do a Tom Holland franchise. Now, my problem is not with Tom Holland himself. Tom Holland, I like so far what I've seen of him. I have no doubts that he would play the character of Nathan Drake well. If they were deciding to do like flashback sequences or small little story beats like they did in Uncharted 3 and 4, the video games, where you get to play as Nathan Drake for like an hour, if they were going to do scenes like similar to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade at the beginning with River Phoenix, if they were going to do something like that, I would be. And I'm back. So anyway, it's not going to deliver. It's not going to be what fans of the video games want to see. Nobody wants to see the origin of Drake, because just like if they're trying to do this fucking Die Hard where it's going to be an origin story for John McClane, the fucking origin story and the origin story for Nathan Drake is the first one, because Drake's fortune suddenly is not going to be that important, because if he's already done extravagant adventure shit and already found all these treasures and did all these huge, wild, insane adventures, well then why is Drake's fortune so important? Because then it's the fourth or fifth time he's done this. It's no longer the first time. So, no, I don't. They're just going to utilize him small, then he's fine. But go watch the video, because I go in a lot more detail about why that's going to fucking fail as an idea. Garrett, my little brother. What do you think about an actor named Dane DeHaan as horrible movie choices like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but he's always really good with what he's given? I really like him. I agree. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't blame it on him. I blame it on the writers and the director, but it definitely wasn't a good choice for him. I like him a lot in, obviously, Chronicle is what he's the best in so far. I loved him in Chronicle. I really liked him in, what the hell is that movie? Lawless, with Tom Hardy. Badass movie. He's great in that. He's a small character. I really liked him in A Cure for Wellness. The movie's too long. It's too bloated, but he's really good in it. And what else has he done? He's doing the Valerian movie, which I don't think is going to do him any favors either. So yeah, I agree. He's a good actor, just making some weird choices. Will Smith, I got a confession. When new Spider-Man was announced, I was thinking that Tom Holland of Fright Night, Tom Holland would direct it. Was excited, but now not so much. Yeah. Cloudy, I think the connection was better when you were on your truck. Yeah, and that was actually, that was because I was going off of my 4G, and I was in the middle of town. I'm going off my Wi-Fi signal because my 4G sucks where my apartment is. So, sorry about the connection issues, guys. I can't see them on my end unless it says reconnecting. It's only done that 3 times. But like I said, I can't go live on my computer. Otherwise, I would do that happily. It'd be a lot easier. Playtime Sid, it's been confirmed that Fox is rebooting. Oh, yeah, I know where you're going with this. Been rebooting the Fantastic Four as a kid-friendly movie. Any thoughts? Yeah, they're fucking idiots. And I hope it doesn't come to fruition like all the other ideas they've had to do with this Fantastic Four franchise, because they've already done what this Fan-4-Stick movie was. It was a younger reboot version of the characters. They're adults. They're not kids. And this was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be some new, young, fresh take on the material and the characters back when they're in their early 20s. You know, people were calling it Baby Fantastic Four and stuff like that, or Fantastic Four Babies. So now taking it even further and going back to when they're kids. So now suddenly they're kids when they get their powers. Like, Fox does great things. Fox did Logan. Fox did Deadpool. Fox did Days of Future Past. Fox did the first 2 X-Men movies. But Fox are fucking idiots sometimes. Fox also did The Last Stand X-Men. They also did the first X-Men Origins movie. They've done all these Fantastic Four failures. They need to stop trying to do Fantastic Four. They need to honestly, it's a cliche at this point, but they need to give it back to Marvel. They need to make a deal to either something similar to what Sony's doing with Spider-Man, where they have like shared profits and shared rights, or they need to just take a big-ass check from Marvel and give them fucking characters back to where they belong, because we need to get the Fantastic Four characters back over to Marvel. We need Doctor Doom and Silver Surfer and characters like that over there so they can be used properly. Because what Fox has been trying to do with this Fantastic Four franchise is just a fucking joke. Raspberry, calling it right now, he's going to be like an edgy Chris Pratt after Valerian. See, I don't know. I really don't think Valerian's going to succeed at all. I think that's going to be the next big bomb of the summer after King Arthur. I don't think that movie's going to succeed at all. I don't hear any buzz about it. I don't hear anybody really excited to see it. I hear, it looks like it could be okay, or I hear people that have no fucking idea what Valerian is. And the trailers, when I see them in the theaters, nobody's jumping out of their seat about it. They're just, okay, popcorn. Go to the bathroom, take a break. So I don't think that movie's going to succeed. I don't think it's going to do anything for his career. Huge fanboy of the comic, so I want it to do well. I understand why you'd want it to do well. And I'm not saying I hope it fails. I'd actually like it to be a big surprise, but I just don't think it will be. Frank is directing new Tom Hardy movie Al Capone, something like that. We'll see. Josh Trank did great with Chronicle. part of that was to do the script from Max Landis. It's not all Josh Trank, who did great things with that movie, but he also, I don't know where to put the scale of blame between Fox and Josh Trank as far as Fan Four Stick, but he also has Fan Four Stick, so he's done one really good movie and one really shitty movie. So if he does another movie with, I mean, Tom Hardy tells me it's probably going to be good because he hasn't done anything bad in my eyes. I hate that Cara Delevingne is Laureline. She's supposed to be a redhead. Yeah, she's not a very strong actress either, especially if you watch Suicide Squad. Honestly, so if there's any reason the movie flops, it's her, cast Emma Stone. I went to Europe for a month and literally see everything Valerian. It's freaking crazy. I think domestically, though, it's going to suck. Everyone is talking about it. Oh, man. I go there to reserve tickets or buy a Valerian comic. It's sold out. Nostalgia fan, what's going on? Congrats on 1100. Hope you reach 2000. I plan to. My goal was to reach 1000 by the end of my first year, and my first year is ending at the end of August. Is like my 1 year. I'm already way ahead of that goal. Am I ambitious enough to say I'll reach 2000 by the end of my first year? So I think I'll have no problem getting to 2000 in any time soon. It seems like once you hit 1000, your momentum really picks up. And I have a lot of cool ideas for new. I'm going to try to do a lot of new things. Any upcoming, or Scene 68, any upcoming video games you are looking forward to playing this year? What the hell is coming out this year? Damn, I know. I'm totally blanking on them. I know there's at least one that's coming out that looks cool. I'm looking forward to the Telltale Guard episode yet, because I like to have at least 2 or 3 I can play in succession. I'm looking forward to Crash Bandicoot. That comes out at the end of this month. I'm really looking forward to that. What the hell else is coming out this year? Spit some games out for me, Scene 68. At least 1 or 2. Claudia, it would be fun to know which videos brought people to your channel. That would be fun to know if I knew what videos everybody subscribed to me for. I know my trailer reactions have gotten a lot of my subscribers. I know that I've gotten over 100 off the one I just did. I know I get quite a few off of the Nightmare series that I've been doing. I've gotten quite a few from my Off the Shelves videos. The occasional movie review, I'll get some new subscribers. I don't tend to get subscribers from just straight movie reviews. New movies, at least. Raspberry, for Valerian, it's going to be me and 500 million overseas. Yeah, that sounds about what I'm expecting, yeah. Game in a long time, so it looks like it's going to be the first one. So I am excited for that. I don't remember if it's coming out this year or next year, but it does look really cool. The last Spider-Man game that I remember being great was Spider-Man 2, like the movie-based video game where you first could like swing across New York. Was a fun game, but it wasn't a great game. I never got to play Dimensions. I never got to play those. I heard they're pretty cool, but I haven't played a great Spider-Man game in a long fucking time. Scene 68 on looks fun. Yeah, so that comes out this year. I'm looking forward to that. The zombie game Days Gone looks good. Days Gone. I remember, yeah. I know what game you're talking about. That's like the third-person game has been delayed and delayed and delayed. That seems like a trend anymore. Like, gets delayed at least once. Every single one. I can't think of one video game that announced a release date and stuck to it. Raspberry, I hate that space operas either are good and fail, Ender's Game, or are just complete garbage like Jupiter Ascending. Well, yeah, the problem is marketing to a degree, because people, unless it's something big like Star Wars or Star Trek, people tend to hold all of one genre accountable for the last movie that they saw. So if they saw Jupiter Ascending, they're not going to be very excited for Valerian. If they saw, Ender's Game, which I liked it, all of a sudden the next sci-fi movie they're really psyched for. It's the same way with comic book movies. If you see, Batman v Superman, and you absolutely hate it, you're not going to be as excited to go see the next comic book movie that comes out. So it's kind of a trend. Keep the questions coming, guys. An hour and 23 minutes in. If it starts to slow down, I'll probably cut it off in an hour and a half. But if you guys feel free to chime some in. I got nothing but time. And hopefully my connection isn't scaring you guys away, because I keep seeing it saying very bad connection popping up, and then I see the number of people watching drop by one about every 30 seconds. You guys got any more questions? I'm still here. This is awkward. I don't have a topic to talk about. It's very odd. Claudia, I have to check out your newest rant. You should do more of those. Yeah, check it out, because it's a big-ass rant. Alright, plugging my phone in, guys. So that's why I was leaning over. But yeah, if unless you're really big into rock and metal, you're probably not going to understand some of the things I talk about as far as the two bands. But I think I make the topic of the video and why the person I'm ranting on is full of shit. So it's an entertaining video for sure. Especially whenever I pull my phone out and actually prove the guy wrong live in front of the camera, which I wasn't expecting to go as well as it did, but when I pulled it up and saw that the band I was defending was number one, I about fucking cried laughing. Alright, Nostalgia Fan. Web of Shadows is a fun game. Have you ever played Max Carnage? I have not. I have not. Alright, so I just cut off the Wi-Fi signal and put it over to my 4G. We'll see if that makes it any better. Raspberry, are you into rap? Because it's currently blowing up. I'm not a rap fan at all. Very, very, very extreme, rare case that a rap song that I hear really hits me. I'm not a big fan of rap in the least. Currently blowing up. It seems like it's always been really popular. Like, it's always the music you heard when I was in high school. That was the music everybody listened to. To date, that's still kind of the big genre that's out there, that's marketed, that's on the radio, that's plastered all over the advertisements in stores. Like, you'll never see an entire electronic section of Target marketing a new Metallica album. But God forbid Beyonce comes out with a new album, or Jay-Z, or fucking Trey Songz of somebody, and you'll see it plastered everywhere. Scene 68, do you think the Scarface is necessary? I personally think some films need to be left alone. So the Scarface remake, is it necessary? I mean, Scarface in itself is a remake. The Al Pacino movie is a remake of like a 1930s movie. So do I want a Scarface remake? If they do it well, sure, I'll watch it. Is it the first pick of a movie that needs a remake? Fuck no. It's not even close. And I don't know. I mean, the Al Pacino movie is iconic. It's one of the most famous movies ever. So it's a tall order to remake a movie like that. So I think they're already at a huge disadvantage, just like with the Ghostbusters situation. Even if that movie was great, it was at a disadvantage because you're remaking a classic. So, yeah, some films do need to be left alone, though. Is Scarface one of those movies? Arguably. I'd probably lean more on the no side. Eventually, I think it's still a little too soon for it. But, we'll see. Claudia, Scene 68, I have the same feeling. Nostalgia Fan, how do you feel about old movies or book series turned into a TV or Netflix series? Depends on the movie or book series, and it depends on what the series is going to be like. Like old movies, here's the thing. Some things need to be turned, or some things can translate really well from a movie or a book into a TV series, and some things do not need to be translated to a TV series. A good example is Hannibal. Hannibal was awesome. It should not have been as awesome as it was, because you're taking 3 movies and you're trying to tell me you're going to do a whole TV series based upon those stories, and it sounds terrible on paper. Then you watch, especially season 3, when they have Hannibal and they have Red Dragon mashed into a season, and it beats both Hannibal and the Red Dragon movie with how they portray those storylines. So there's some ways that they can do it, and there's some storylines, like Fargo. Fargo went from a movie to a TV series and it turned out really well. I'm sure I'm forgetting another example that's really well. But then you get shit like Lethal Weapon. Should not be a TV series. I know it has its fans, but should not be a TV series. You get shit like when they tried to do a Blade TV series. You get shit like whenever, I never saw it, but they have the Exorcist TV series. They had the Rush Hour TV series. Like, it's such a cliche now to turn a movie into a TV series solely because the name is recognizable. And that's the worst way to do it because almost every single one of them fail miserably. And they don't get picked up for season two because nobody wants to see it because it sucks. So if they have a good idea of how to expand the story, about how to bring the setting or the themes or the characters or that world of a certain movie to a TV series, sure, go for it. If you're only doing it because, hey, everybody likes Rush Hour, so let's make it a TV series. No. Beyonce doesn't rap, she just moans about random shit. Yeah, no, she's a R&B singer. I was just thinking off the top of my head. Claudia, why do Americans like Ryan Gosling so much? I was hoping that someone could explain that. Um, I can explain why I like Ryan Gosling. He's not like one of my favorite actors of all time or anything like that, but he's a good actor. I mean, he's movies like Crazy Stupid Love, movies like Drive are playing to his strengths. He's a very silently confident actor. He's not a real big charismatic personality. He's not a guy that I would necessarily throw at the forefront of a comedy or or not a comedy, like a action franchise or anything like that. He's really good dramatic. He's good at comedic spots. Like, he's a great side character in Crazy Stupid Love, but people love him in the U.S. because he's handsome and because he's a really good actor for what we've seen of him. Has he done great movies all around? No, he's had some shitty ones, but um, he's just different. He's a really strong actor who's quiet. He's got more of that quiet kind of that Clint Eastwood thing going on, where he's more about presence than he is like personality. If that makes any sense. If you watch the movie Drive, you know exactly what I'm going at because his character in Drive is exactly what I picture when I think of Ryan Gosling. Kind of that quiet, cold confidence. The Nice Guys, yeah. So you know what? So you just proved me wrong. He was fucking awesome in The Nice Guys. The Nice Guys, he was hilarious, and he was the co-lead of that movie. So actually, smack myself for saying he can't lead a comedy. Because yes, The Nice Guys was great. Are you gonna review All Eyes on Me? No. I mean, last weekend was the reason why I haven't been reviewing too many brand new movies is because my girlfriend's work schedule and school schedule is starting to kind of conflict with the times I would have to go to the movies. Whenever, for the longest time, it's been we're both home by 6 o'clock at the latest, and then our nights are always free. So I would go see a brand new movie on Thursday. I'd see a brand new movie on Friday if there was enough, and sometime on Saturday. Now, now the situation is Thursday, and she works in a movie theater. She's an assistant manager in a movie theater, so that's cool. But because of that, because of the new release and the shit like that, she now closes on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So now I have to either really time myself well or get a babysitter for the kids if I want to go see a brand new movie. So I really have to be selective on the new movies I see now. It has to be a movie I have to see, like Alien Covenant or Guardians of the Galaxy or like when Spider-Man comes out. Unless I get off of work really crazy early on Friday, it's very difficult for me to see a new movie anymore until we kind of get a new schedule going. So, like last weekend when we had All Eyes on Me, we had Rough Night, we had what the hell was the other one that came out? There was another new one, but there was three brand new movies that I had little to no interest in seeing. So I was going to go see Rough Night on Friday, but I would have had to stay out till 7 o'clock and keep the babysitter who we had here for an extra couple hours, and it just wasn't worth it to me. So no, All Eyes on Me. I haven't heard anything great about it. I didn't have the time to go see it. There's no sense, practically, practically speaking, for my channel for me to go see it and review it now, because it'll bomb, being that the movie's already been out. And I'm just not really. I'm not a Tupac fan or anything like that, so I don't have any strong desire to go see that story, especially when people are saying it's not all that great. Bev S. Hi, what do you think of British horror movies and those set in the UK, such as The Descent, Dog Soldiers, Creep, and 28 Days Later? Well, hello. Um, I've only seen The Descent and 28 Days Later. I love both of those. I've seen pieces of Dog Soldiers. I might need to rewatch that movie because I didn't have any. Nothing about that movie impressed me when I watched it, but everybody seems to love it. But just like any horror movie, whether it's Korean, British, American, Japanese, if it's great, I love it. Scene 68. I would love to see Blade as a Netflix TV series. I think they could work if done right. As a Netflix TV series, yes. Now, the one that they tried to do was, what, Spike TV or some shit? Nope, don't do that. It needs to be rated R. It needs to be bloody. It needs to be kick ass. And you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody who kicks as much ass as Wesley Snipes in that role. But if you can find somebody, yes. Raspberry, well, he's getting thrown at Blade Runner, but that is going well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect from Blade Runner. I'm not a fan of the first film very much. Granted, I've only seen it once, and granted, I had a very different idea in my head of what that movie was going to be before I actually watched it, and it was a totally different movie than I expected. But it didn't blow me away. Ridley Scott movies are kind of, love or hate with me. Some of them I love, other ones I just don't get it. So this movie is either going to really make me a Blade Runner fan, and it's going to make me want to go back and watch the first one and try to be one of the super fans that a lot of people are, or it's going to be very similar to the first movie, and I'm going to walk out feeling kind of, mixed on it or disappointed in it. And Denis Villeneuve is a guy who is definitely a talented director, but I haven't loved all of his movies. I think I'm like the only person, except for a few select people I've talked to, who didn't think that Arrival was anything like anything mind blowing. Everybody was talking about that movie last year like it was the greatest thing ever, and I walked out going, okay, it was cool, it was well made, but it wasn't mind blowing at all. So I'm curious what to expect from that movie. The little bit of buzz I've heard from it is that it has a lot of issues and they need to go back and fix it. Now, take that with a grain of salt because I don't know who's seen cuts of the movie already, but nowadays everything gets out so much that I can't help but put a little bit of investment in those stories. Bev and An American Werewolf in London. Well, yeah, that's a classic. Nostalgia fan, thoughts on the Jurassic World sequel coming up? It's probably something I'm going to touch on whenever I do my Hollywood highlights video. Unless you guys, I was talking about it at the beginning of the Q&A. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but uh, it's probably going to be good. I like Jurassic World. I didn't, a lot of people are really hating on that movie. I thought it was good. I thought it mixed enough new elements into it, and it mixed enough nostalgia where I ended up enjoying it. I feel like it really got the series back on track and set them up so that they can deliver a great sequel that would maybe get to the level of Jurassic Park. It's hard to recreate the magic of that first movie, but I think it's called Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom is the new title that they've called it. So, I mean, I'm curious about it. I think it's going to be good, hopefully. They've already done the hard part. They've gotten everybody excited for Jurassic Park again, so all they got to do is deliver a good story. Claudia, I liked The Arrival, but wasn't mind blown. I was mind blown by Nocturnal Animals, and I still have not seen that damn movie. I need to watch that. I bought it, and it's one of those things where, like, at least one movie a month, I'll buy it with the intention of watching it, and I'll put it on my shelf and completely forget about it. And then suddenly it's months later, and I completely forget that I even own it. But yeah, I was really curious about Nocturnal Animals. Arrival was good. It just the third act to me was so convoluted and so strange and so anticlimactic in a lot of ways because it kind of my interest was the aliens and why the aliens were there, and it suddenly turned the whole story on its head, and the whole story was about Amy Adams' character, and it did a lot of strange things that it's one of those endings and directions where people say if you don't like it, it's just because you don't understand it, you don't get what they're going for. And when in reality, it's like, no, I understand exactly what they're going for. I understand exactly what they did. I just don't like it. So, Scene 68, why do you think the Oscars shun horror movies? I personally never understood why they do. Because horror as a genre has a very bad reputation because, being dead honest, most of them suck. Horror has an expectation of being cheap, of being half-assed made, of having bad acting, about having, you know, it's almost expected that a horror movie is not going to be good. That's why when you get a movie like Don't Breathe, when you get a movie like Get Out that actually scores with critics, it goes fucking everywhere. Like Get Out, plastered all over the place. Best movie of the year, best thriller of the year, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Jordan Peele's a genius. Blah 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 blah. And like, you know, taking nothing away from Get Out, it's a really good movie, but it doesn't deserve to be hailed as like the greatest horror movie in the past 10 years. And it's not even really a horror movie, it's more of a thriller. But the Oscars shun horror movies because the people who vote in the Oscars are very old school, classic fans of cinema where they like movies that are 3 hours long and about a homosexual priest who is struggling with his faith, or, you know, movies about, you know, the Jesuit priests who go off into ancient Japan, and like these movies that are definitely artistic and are definitely good movies, but they're the types of movies for me, at least for the most part, with very few exceptions, they're movies that I either have absolutely no interest in seeing, or they're movies that I watch once and I never watch them again. Like Moonlight. Everybody was losing their shit about Moonlight last year. I bought Moonlight, didn't really enjoy it all that much. I enjoyed parts of it. I understood what they were going for, totally acknowledged the artistic and the cultural relevance of that movie. I will never watch that fucking movie again. I will never have the desire to watch it. I will never walk up to a friend and say, you need to watch Moonlight. And that's the type of movies that the Oscar voters and the members of the Academy like, is movies like that. These big artistic visions. They don't like slashers. They don't like thrillers. They don't like genre films. That's why comic book movies will never be in the Oscars except for visual effects. That's why you get movies like even Get Out. Get Out is not going to get an Oscar. It's just the way the Academy is. That's why they need... People love to talk about diversity with race and with gender and stuff like that when it comes to awards. Like the big stink they made about all the Oscars so white, and then all of a sudden you saw a huge surge of a lot of people of ethnicities getting a lot of nominations this past Oscars. Did they deserve it, or was it because of the backlash the year before? We may never know. But people like to talk about the diversity with that, when the true problem is honestly the diversity of what types of movies get represented at the Oscars. Because you live in a time now where, how the fuck can you have a movie like Captain America Civil War, where 90% of the world agrees is a phenomenal movie, but it's not good enough to get recognized at award season? How can you have a movie like Get Out, where 95% of the world agrees it's a phenomenal movie, but it's not good enough to get recognized in award season? And that's the problem. That's the true problem with the Oscars and with award shows, is because there's no diversity in what they consider to be art. They're very close-minded in what they consider to be art and award-worthy, and it's boring. It gets old after a while. I've never enjoyed watching the Oscars. I enjoy seeing who wins, and I enjoy kind of the discussion that it creates, but it hasn't grown with the times. It hasn't changed with the times. And until they change with the times and they get people in the Academy who are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, who like comic books, who like horror movies, who also like dramas, who like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger action movies or anything like that, until they get more diversity in that side of things, then the Oscars is never truly going to be diverse in my mind. So, there's my little rant and spiel on the Oscars. Jake Gyllenhaal is great in Nocturnal Animals. I hear that, what's his name? Damn it. Michael Shannon is the one to watch in Nocturnal Animals. Claudia, well, Misery got at least one Oscar, and I was thrilled. Yeah, Misery, there's rare exceptions. Silence of the Lambs got an Oscar. The Exorcist got an Oscar, I believe. Don't quote me on it. Misery got an Oscar. What else? I know there's at least... there's rare exceptions. Rare exceptions. And they have to be movies of the caliber of Silence of the Lambs. So, but yeah, she definitely deserved the Best Actress for Misery. I love Kathy Bates. Nostalgia fan, what do you think about Josh Brolin as Cable? I love it. Josh Brolin is the fucking man. He's a great actor. He's hilarious. He's can carry in action, he can carry in drama, he can carry in comedy, and all three of those things are needed to be Cable. And I think they would not have cast him if they didn't think that he could handle it. I mean, he already handled it. People, it's not a loved movie necessarily. I really enjoy it, but Men in Black 3, he's hilarious in Men in Black 3. And that's kind of the tone of Deadpool, is that goofy kind of comedy. So I'm ready to see what he's going to do with Cable. Personally, I would have liked Stephen Lang. That was kind of my pick for Cable. But I have no problems with Josh Brolin playing Cable. Playtime Sid. I saw Silence. It was odd. Yeah, I bought it, and that's another movie I have yet to watch because I know it's 3-something hours long, and I can almost guarantee it's going to be a movie I'm going to watch once and never want to see again. But I was curious enough about it because it's a Scorsese film to buy it. So, Marcos Gaming. Hi, what's going on, Marcos? Playtime Sid. 100% agree. I assume you mean the my Oscars bitching. So that's cool. Steve Panache. They nominate The Martian for their comedy. Yeah, fucking joke. They nominated The Martian for a comedy because they want to give the award to The Martian, but they didn't want to give it to The Martian over whatever the fuck won in Best Drama. And that's the way that they sneak shit in. They did the same thing with Christian Bale with the boxing movie, The Fighter. They knew he was not going to win Best Actor. They knew he was not going to win Best Actor that year, but they wanted to give him an award for the job that he did, so they stuck his ass in Best Supporting Actor, even though he's the fucking lead actor of that movie. It's a Mark Wahlberg vehicle, but Christian Bale is the main character in that movie. So they shove him over into Best Supporting Actor and fuck over everybody who's truly the best supporting actor because they want to give him a freebie. And they did the same thing with The Martian. I don't remember if that was the Oscars or if that was the something else. What the fuck is it? It was another award show, the Golden Globes or something like that. But yeah, that's a joke. Will I Like It reviews? Hey, I think I just farted. Wait, yep, definitely farted. Me too. Marcos Gaming, what is your favorite DC movie? If you mean like of all time, like including movies before the DCEU, favorite DC movie. It's a cross between either Batman Begins or Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which is often forgotten. It's an animated movie based off of the Batman animated series. Still one of the best Batman movies ever made. Batman Begins is my favorite of the Nolan trilogy. I know The Dark Knight is incredible, but it's a little overblown for me, so I don't give it as much. I don't love it as much as everybody else. I definitely think it's an awesome movie, but I like Batman Begins a little bit better. So, if you mean of all time, one of those two. If you mean DCEU film, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman edged out Man of Steel as my favorite movie. Will I Like It reviews? Yeah, the Globes are totally fucked. DiCaprio winning comedy, even he made a joke about it. Yeah, so it was the Golden Globes. So yeah, it's a joke. I mean, let's be honest. All of the awards and the award shows and the award seasons are a fucking joke. It's a popularity contest. It's a political contest. It's just not. It's not a true reflection of the year. It's not a true reflection of the best film, the best comedies, the best actors and best supporting actors. I mean, there's people out there who will defend the Oscars and shit like that with their dying breath, saying that yes, that is in fact the greatest artistic value that we have gotten all year. But then you talk to, the majority of movie fans out there and the majority of people who actually go to the damn theater, and they're always like, I don't know, 90% of the shit that they're talking about in the Oscars right now. I haven't seen a single one of those movies. So, like I said, they need to change with the times a little bit. Award shows take themselves way too seriously, yeah, especially the Oscars. Like, the Oscars feel like they are the cornerstone of the entire Hollywood process for the year. Claudia asks, has the Wonder Woman movie saved the DCEU? Not yet. Wonder Woman has changed the conversation completely. It has changed the hope for everybody completely. It has changed the tone of the universe completely. Because before, it was a tone and a conversation of despair and disappointment and anger and confusion. And then Wonder Woman comes up, and all anybody can talk about is how excited they are for Wonder Woman 2, how excited they are for Justice League, how excited they are for whatever else they're going to be doing. Matt Reeves is the Batman, all the little spin-off movies, Joss Whedon's Batgirl movie. It's changed the tone of the universe to hope. Everybody's hopeful now. But Justice League still has to come out this year. I actually asked this question to Will I Like It Reviews a couple hours ago when he was doing his Q&A. I asked him, if Justice League comes out and has the same reception as BVS, which is mixed at best, is all the positive momentum that Wonder Woman created going to die a quick death? And the answer, and he said it too, is absolutely yes. If Justice League comes out and is just halfway decent or sucks, all of the praise, all of the hope, all of the excitement from Wonder Woman is going to die with a lot of people. All of a sudden it's going to be, yep, the DCEU sucks again. Even though it's not fair, because what they do with Justice League has nothing to do with what's to come after Justice League, because they already filmed the movie. They started filming it like 2 weeks after Batman v Superman came out, which is a fucking idiotic idea, because they didn't give themselves enough time to see what the fan reception, what the critical reception of that movie was even going to be. So all the plans they had in forth was assuming 100% that Batman v Superman was going to come out and be a gigantic hit, and a gigantic critical success, and a gigantic fan success, and everyone's going to love it. So it comes out, and majority of people says it sucks ass, and now, oh fuck. And they already got the script, they already got the actors, they already got the locations paid for, they already got principal photography getting ready to start in 2 weeks. So they did some damage control. I don't know how much damage control they were able to do in 2 weeks, but Justice League is either going to come out and keep the momentum going, or it's going to completely chop it off at the fucking nub, and everybody's going to be pissed at the DCEU again until we get another Wonder Woman. Will it be Aquaman? Maybe. Will it be whenever they get around to Batgirl, or the Batman, or Nightwing, or Gotham City Sirens, or anything, the fucking 2 Shazam movies, and all the other dozen movies that they've announced without delivering a single one, The Flash, until we get another movie that's as successful as Wonder Woman, that's going to be the tone of the DCEU. So Wonder Woman has changed the tone. Has it saved the DCEU? No, because it's what have you done for me lately? If Wonder Woman is great, everyone's happy. If Justice League is great, everybody's still happy. But if Justice League sucks, everybody's pissed again. So Justice League's going to be your compass for everybody's mood. Scene 68. Wonder Woman gave me faith with DC. I have a feeling Justice League will make me lose it. I want to be hopeful for Justice League. I really do. I want to be hopeful for it. But like I said, they went into that movie with the wrong intentions. They went into it with really idiotic planning. And they've seen the negative effects with that with Batman v Superman and with Suicide Squad. So in my mind, there's no reason to expect anything different from Justice League. It's not like the stars are suddenly going to align and all the mistakes they made on the other 2 movies is not going to be mistakes in this one. Now, you have the fact that they did do damage control. They did insert more comedy. They did try to give more focus to Wonder Woman. They're doing reshoots. You got Joss Whedon coming in to help out a little bit because Zack Snyder left due to the tragedy with his daughter. How much Joss Whedon are we going to see in this film? I have no idea. The movie's already pretty much done, so he's only going to be doing the reshoots and being in control of some of the editing and maybe extend the reshoots or something like that. But if the movie's already done, and this is the same thing they're going to run into with this Han Solo bullshit that's going on, if the movie's already done, how much of an imprint is your replacement director actually going to have on it? So I don't know how much Joss Whedon is even going to do with this movie, but I have all my fingers crossed that Justice League is going to be good, if not great. But do I have confidence that it's going to be great? No, because what made Wonder Woman great is not the same situation of Justice League. Marcos Gaming, what do you think about the Black Panther trailer? I answered that earlier, but I'm excited for Black Panther because of what I saw in Civil War. Did the trailer excite me any more than what I was when I walked out of Civil War? No. It was a good teaser. It showed a lot of visuals. It didn't show you a whole lot with the story, but did it excite me more for the movie? No. Did it take away any excitement? No, it didn't. So I liked the trailer. Wasn't blowing my socks off. Playtime Sid, hopefully Justice League kills the whole DC hate bandwagon. I mean, I don't really think there's a DC hate bandwagon, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of a myth. That's one of those things that Marvel fans and DC fans always try to create. They always try to create myths, and they always try to create, issues that aren't there. And that people have been saying that critics are paid off, and even YouTubers like me are paid off to hate on DC. When the truth is, all we want is a good movie. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel, DC, Vertigo, fucking whatever comic book makes the movie. If it's good, people like it. If it sucks, people are going to say it sucks. Now, being the fact that it's like this rivalry situation like between Marvel and DC, whenever it sucks, people are going to hate on it that much more just because it's like a fun little war that people have. But it's not really a bandwagon. It seemed like a bandwagon because we had two shitty movies in a row. We had Batman v Superman, which I admit I'm liking more as time goes on, especially the Ultimate Cut. So maybe shitty movie is a harsh word, but definitely a disappointment. So we had a big disappointment and we had a shitty movie back to back. And a lot of people don't even care for Man of Steel. So for some people, it's three movies in a row. So when you have three failures in a row, it tends to look like a bandwagon because everybody's hating on it because they've had three disappointments in a row. It's not like a Marvel situation where just about every movie they come out with is a success in one way or another. It's either like even the worst Marvel movie is still like on my rating system is a Netflix watch. There's no Marvel movie that's ever come out since the first Iron Man that has sucked. There just hasn't been one. I mean, people are harsh on Iron Man 2, which I think is the worst one. People are harsh on The Dark World. A lot of people were disappointed in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but I still have a hard time understanding anybody that says that those movies are trash, like to the point where they are unwatchable. I just don't get it. Not that I'm hearing that very often, but that's my thoughts on the whole DC hate bandwagon, what I would call a myth. Claudia says, is it ironic that Natalie Portman was pissed when they didn't get Patty Jenkins for the second Thor movie, and now she's knocked out of the park for the DC? I actually didn't even know that. Natalie Portman was pissed when they didn't get Patty Jenkins for the second Thor. I mean, Patty Jenkins is a strange situation because she came out with Monster. And I don't know if this is the gender equality issue or if this is something else, but you have a director that came out with Monster. Huge, huge hit with critics. They got Charlize Theron her Best Actress Academy Award. And then you don't see her again until 2017 when she comes out with Wonder Woman. So at least I don't think she's done a movie since Monster. Maybe I'm wrong. At least not a big movie. So I don't know if that was a thing where she just wasn't in demand. I don't know if it was a thing where her vision for the movie didn't fit Marvel's, because Marvel's already shown with Edgar Wright that they don't care how prestigious of a director you are. If you're not going to fit their model, then they'll find somebody else, because everybody wants to direct a Marvel movie. So I don't know what the situation that caused that, but yeah, it is ironic that they didn't want her, but then she's, super successful with Wonder Woman. But even Thor: The Dark World, I don't think that movie failed by any means. I think it made just about the same amount they thought it was going to. Nostalgia fan, if the DCU fails and needs a reboot, they can try with the Flash movie and do it like Flashpoint Paradox and fix it. That's actually exactly what I thought they were planning on doing for the longest time, because they were trying to, we had the thing with Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad came out and people were pissed. And then you had the thing where Ben Affleck left Batman. And then you had The Flash losing directors left and right, losing its writer. And then they had to tear up the script and start from page one. And then they were announcing Shazam movies. And then they were announcing that, Nightwing was going to be a movie. And all this crazy, weird news. And the thing that I kept latching onto with The Flash was that they were rewriting it from page one. And I always thought, oh, okay, they're using their ace in the hole. They're going to rewrite the first Flash movie to be a Flashpoint Paradox movie. And they're going to use it as their built-in reset button. And they're going to get to the Flash, they're going to use the reset button on the Flashpoint storyline, and they're going to reboot their franchise while keeping up with their own continuity and respecting the comic storyline. So I hope they don't have to resort to that, but if they do, that's actually really fucking smart, and they're very lucky that they have that built-in reset button with the Flash. For those that don't know the storyline of the Flashpoint Paradox, since I don't want to assume everybody's a comic book reader, but they explored it a little bit in season 3 of The Flash, but it's way deeper than that. Basically, the Flash wakes up and he's not the Flash anymore. And it turns out that he actually went back in time and altered events to where he changed things so drastically that he wasn't the Flash anymore, and he's the villain of his own story. And a lot of other shit happens, like the Amazonians are fighting the Amazonians are fighting the Aquaman's people. I can't remember the fucking name. I'm gonna smack myself for not remembering the damn name of his race. Anyway, a bunch of shit. The whole DC universe is in shambles. And I felt like they kind of set themselves up for that in BVS when they had the scene when the Flash comes in and he's yelling at Bruce Wayne about, no, yet Lois is the key. It was him all along. I felt like they were putting that in there to lead into Injustice Gods Among Us and to also lead into Flashpoint Paradox coming in. So they definitely have thought about it. Claudia, isn't Joss Whedon directing Batgirl or something? He is directing Batgirl. He's helping finish Justice League, but he's also directing the Batgirl movie. Marcos Gaming, what do you think about Venom in the MCU? Another story that I'm going to get into in Hollywood Highlights. Here's the thing. They need to come out and say definitively if this Venom thing is actually in the MCU, because they all said that it wasn't definitively for weeks. Over and over and over again. No, this is not going to be in the MCU. It's going to be its own separate thing. Then, all of a sudden, this past week, you get, what the hell's her name? Amy something. Amy Pascal, I think, she's sitting next to Kevin Feige, the head of MCU. And she's talking about, well, yes, these new spinoffs we're going to be doing are actually going to be tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you watch the video, Kevin Feige's got a fucked up face where he's like, what is this bitch talking about? That's kind of the face he has, honestly. What is this bitch talking about? And it causes questions. Did she speak too soon? Maybe they were just discussing the possibility of it being in the MCU, and she spoke too soon, and now Kevin Feige's like, we didn't agree to that. Is that just Kevin Feige's face, and it's all true, and it actually was intended to be part of the MCU all along? Is she completely wrong, and she's doing a political play by getting the fan excitement out there so that she can tell Kevin Feige, see, everybody wants Venom in the MCU? We have no idea. Until they come out with an official statement saying Venom and Silver Sable and Black Cat is all going to be in the MCU, I am not going to put too much water into it. But assuming that this Venom movie is in fact in the MCU, and they just announced that Carnage is going to be the villain, I'm excited about it on one condition, that the movie fucking kills. Because if you are going to do a Venom movie, and you're going to put Carnage in it, these are two of the most famous, most fan-crazy villains in the Spider-Man universe in one film and have them face off against each other, you better fucking deliver your ass off in that movie. Because if you fuck up the Venom versus Carnage movie, kiss all of your Spider-Man side stories goodbye. Because nobody's forgiving you for that. People are still pissed about Spider-Man 3. You think they're going to be mad about... You think people are mad about Spider-Man 3 and Topher Grace? Wait till they fuck up Venom versus Carnage, assuming that they mess it up. People will lose their minds. So, if it's part of the MCU, awesome. Because I think Tom Hardy would be good enough or smart enough to not be a part of the movie if it looked like it wasn't going to be awesome. He doesn't tend to not do anything that isn't awesome. So, if it delivers... great, because it seems like they're going to be do something real smart where they put all these villain-centric movies, deliver on the villains and the characters, and make the villains really big characters, which Marvel has huge flaws with doing, and then you can set up your little Sinister Six movie that you know they're going to build to eventually, without having to put a bunch of different villains in 4 or 5 different Spider-Man movies. You can have Kraven the Hunter, you can have Mysterio, you can have, all the other villains in the Sinister Six, whatever incarnation of the Sinister Six they're going to go with, in their own separate movies. And then when finally Tom Holland's Spider-Man shows up, bam, you can walk right into Sinister Six and nobody will miss a beat. So, if they deliver, yes. Nostalgia fan, Jason Momoa versus Gal Gadot for Flashpoint movie. Yeah, exactly. Atlanteans, thank you. I don't know why the hell I kept wanting to say Aquamanians for whatever reason. I wasn't going to say it because I'd sound like an idiot. But yeah, the Amazonians were fighting the Atlanteans. It was a huge war, and you had shit like the kid from Shazam, Billy something. I don't remember his fucking name. Billy Bats. No, that's Goodfellas. But you had Shazam murdered and a bunch of crazy stuff. It's a really good comic. Tyler Tompkins. What did you cook for dinner tonight? Also, when are you watching The Place Beyond the Pines? What did I cook for dinner tonight? Taco Bell. Because I didn't have enough time to cook, and I had to bring Holly lunch at her work, and I didn't want to cook and then package everything up and drive over there, so I killed two birds with one stone and picked up dinner on the way. Regretful decision? Possibly. When am I going to watch The Place Beyond the Pines? When I have 3 hours to spare, and I don't have to record anything. So possibly never. No, I'm just kidding. Probably this weekend. I'll probably give it a shot this weekend because I'm going to be home alone with the kids Saturday and Sunday from 2 o'clock until the middle of the night. So I'll probably pop it in sometime this weekend. Nostalgia fan, hope they do a better job in the mess from Spider-Man 3. Yeah, I'm a fan of Spider-Man 3, but I definitely hope they deliver on Venom more because that is the biggest weakness of that film. Claudia, maybe the North Koreans can hack her emails again and we will know if Venom is in the MCU. Yeah, exactly. They're going to find the email with Kevin Feige like, bitch, what the hell are you doing? We did not agree to this. Nostalgia fan, Baxton. Billy Baxton. Yes, that's it. Exactly. Jonathan Hayden back again. Finally home. I'm eating Taco Bell right now. There you go. The only reason I went to Taco Bell is because they brought back the XL Chalupa and now they're calling it the Double Chalupa. And I haven't had one of those damn things in years, and that was always like my favorite specialty thing that they ever did. It was okay. Like all the shit at Taco Bell tastes the same. Let's just be honest. Taco Bell is marketing geniuses because they repackage the same shit 250 million different ways and call it something different. Like they had the cheesy core burrito earlier this year, maybe last year, where it was this big thing and people were going in droves to get it. I'm like, they moved the fucking cheese to the middle of the burrito, wrapped it exactly the same, and called it something different. So, oh man. Taco Bell are geniuses. Claudia, are we going to see Jax? Jax, come here. Come here. Come on. You got fans. Come on. Come here. There he is. Say hello. That's my buddy. It's my little sidekick right there. Ugh. Jonathan Hayden, I had to come back 3 different times because the Wi-Fi at my work sucks. Yeah, apparently the Wi-Fi at my house sucked too because ever since I turned it off and went with 4G, which I usually have horrible signal in my apartment, I haven't had any interruptions. I don't think we have those yet at Taco Bell's where I live. I think it just came out like today because I saw somebody post a food review for it on YouTube and I was like, oh shit, they're back. So, Keith Vane, did you see the trailer for Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal? No, that's the one about the Boston bombing, which is interesting to me because they just did a movie, Patriots Day, which was phenomenal about the Boston bombing. And nobody went to go see it because they feel it's too soon for a Boston bombing movie. So it's strange to me that they're following up with an even smaller scale, more independent version of the Boston bombing. So I'm interested in it. Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor, so I'll probably see the trailer eventually, but it's just strange to me, marketing-wise, why they would do that, because Patriots Day was what I would imagine the best thing you could possibly expect to make out of a Boston bombing movie, and it failed financially. Playtime Sid, do you think Captain Marvel, not Shazam, could top Wonder Woman? No, I don't. I don't at all. Wonder Woman is a movie that people have been waiting for decades. They have been waiting for Wonder Woman for a long, long, long time. Wonder Woman is one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. Captain Marvel, I'm sure, is going to be good, but Marvel has not, like... Marvel movies are starting to become very, very formulaic. They're starting to be very similar to each other. And so I don't see a scenario where Captain Marvel comes out and people are so blown away by Captain Marvel that it has the buzz and the praise and the momentum that Wonder Woman has right now. I just don't see it. I think it's going to be good. I just don't think it's going to be a movie where people are going to be like, holy shit, did you see Captain Marvel? So, no, I don't think it's going to top Wonder Woman. We don't have Taco Bell in Portugal. I mean, I would say you're not missing much, but I mean, Taco Bell is like delicious garbage. It's weird. Like, people know when they go to Taco Bell that they're going to be eating toxic waste, and they're going to dispense that toxic waste in a very painful manner and within hours. But for whatever reason, we still go back. So Taco Bell is Taco Bell. People call it Taco Hell for a reason. He's so sweet. Yeah, he's my buddy boy. He's a sweet dog. He's the best dog I've ever had in the world, to be honest with you. He's smart. He listens. He'll love up on you. He's one of those dogs which Huskies are kind of known for, but him especially is more than any dog I've ever known. Just is like a big ball of love. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I would never do this, but like if I went up and just gouged him in the eyeballs continuously for 5 minutes, at the 6th minute he'll forgive me and come up and give me hugs and kisses and stuff. So it's just, he's hilarious. I love my dog. Jonathan Hayden. I'm probably going to regret eating this, though, because I'm going to have some drinks after I eat. And I always, every time I eat Taco Bell before I drink, my stomach hurts so much the next day. Yeah. Everybody that eats Taco Bell has a regretful Taco Bell story, but it never scares us away. It's hilarious. Claudia, I'm sorry to hear that. I'd be so mad without my Taco Bell. Marcos Gaming, Marvel or DC? Both. I'm a fan of both. I don't buy into the whole thing that you have to choose one. Same thing with PS4 or Xbox. Now, PS4 and Xbox is a much easier conversation because I think PlayStation blows Xbox out of the water, but I'm a fan of both. I own both the systems. I'm not going to cuss out Xbox fans. I'm not going to cuss out PS4 fans. If you're wanting me to choose one just for the sake of choosing one, comic-wise, I like DC Comics better. Movie-wise, I think Marvel is clearly the better movie maker, at least so far. So there's give and take with both. Batman's my favorite comic book hero, like, by a landslide. So I'm always going to choose DC to a degree. But, I mean, you got Iron Man, you got the X-Men, you've got Captain America, you've got, so many great characters over at Marvel, so many great stories over at Marvel, so many great comics over at Marvel. DC, to me, is just a little bit more of, it just fits my interest a little bit more. It's a little bit more mythic. You know, they're a little bit more metal than Marvel. But like I said, yeah, I own a lot of comics, a lot of I can't see them from here. They're over there behind that wall. But I own a lot of trade paperback comics. I own a lot of like storyline editions and stuff like that. I'm not big on actual individual comics. I like actually the whole storylines, more of that. I have a lot more DC shit than I have Marvel. I read a lot more DC shit than I read Marvel. But like I said, Marvel so far is clearly the better movie maker. Claudia, I think there's enough junk food as it is, and our cuisine is amazing, so we don't need it. Yeah, you don't need Taco Bell. Nobody needs Taco Bell. It's just some weird addiction that we have as Americans. Claudia, Jax is really quiet. Lucky you. He's a very quiet dog. He's just a big, lazy sleeper. He just likes to lay down. He likes to nap. Him and my girlfriend, I call they're like nap buddies because they will nap all day if you let them. Claudia, why do you have 2 gaming consoles? It's a good question. No, the reason why is because each console has their own exclusive games. Like, there's certain franchises that you can only get on PlayStation. There's certain franchises that you can only get on Xbox One. Now, I'm not a big enough fan of the Xbox exclusive franchises to justify buying its own console just for those. But you add in the fact that the Xbox One S plays 4K Blu-rays, and suddenly you have my money. So I bought it 60% because I wanted a 4K Blu-ray player for whenever I eventually got a 4K TV, which I managed to get. So that's mostly the reason why I bought it, but I'm a big fan of Gears of War. I like Halo on rare occasion. There's some other, like the Rare Replay. There were some games that you could only get on Xbox One that I wanted to have. PlayStation, I'm a big fanatic of. Like, I play pretty much every PlayStation exclusive franchise, like Uncharted, like God of War, like The Last of Us. I'm like massive fans of. So I will always have PlayStation consoles. And I always, whatever third-party game comes out where you can play it on any system, I always buy it for PS4 because It's a fact. PS4 plays games better. It looks better. It plays them on higher resolutions. I did a whole video of PS4 versus Xbox One. It was like a UFC death match. It was kind of a fun video. It didn't perform very well, but it was fun. And I went into all the reasons why PlayStation was better in certain aspects and Xbox One was better in certain aspects. But true gamer fans like everything. Like, there's not. You can't call yourself a true gaming fanatic if you don't appreciate every console. I even have a Nintendo Switch, so technically I have 3 consoles. Now, Nintendo has a lot more exclusive shit than the other two because only Nintendo games can be played on Nintendo, where there's a ton of shit you can play on PS4 and Xbox. But I'm like I said with the DC versus Marvel thing, it's the same thing with me with PS4 versus Nintendo versus Xbox. There's definitely the pros and the cons of all of them, but I'm a gaming fan above anything else. I love games, so I will play all of them. Jonathan Hayden just watched your review for 13 Reasons Why, and I forgot how good the series was. I can't wait for season 2. I think we're going to get a school shooting. I also really like Clay. I had a crush on him, not the character, but the actor. Yeah, I really like Dylan Minnette. He was one of the reasons I was interested in the show in the first place, because I saw him on the Netflix advertisement. I think he's a really good actor. I like him. And yeah, I think I'm not a fan of the idea of a 13 Reasons Why seasons 2. I said it in my video why, because it feels like they're leaving it open for additional stories for the sake of having a more financially successful season 2. It doesn't feel like it's necessary. It doesn't feel like it's going to serve the story or the characters very well because it's a very finite story. When the Hannah Baker storyline is wrapped up, what else is there to say? So, but they're coming out with it, and yes, I think it's going to be a school shooting because of everything. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen 13 Reasons Why, because of everything regarding that one kid, I think, what is his name? Peter? That's probably not his name at all. The photographer kid, he's shown with a shitload of guns, and it never says what he does with them, and that's exactly what I think he's going to do with it. So it's going to go from suicide awareness to suddenly tackling gun control and school shootings. So it's going to be interesting. Scene 68 is an avid X-Men fan. I'm on the fence about them doing Dark Phoenix, but what is your opinion about them tackling that story? Again, after how they trashed it in X3. I'm a big fan of what Sophie Turner did in the last one. I think she's great as Jean Grey. I think if they're going to do a Dark Phoenix storyline, they might as well do it now while they have a great cast of characters for the young X-Men. Gigantic asterisk next to that, don't fuck it up. If they fuck this up again, it's going to be the biggest failure I can ever think of with comic book movies, because whether or not they admit it or not, the entire reason that they have rebooted the X-Men franchise, starting all the way back from First Class, was so they could eventually build back up to the Dark Phoenix storyline and do it right. That's why at the end of Days of Future Past, they wiped the entire timeline and erased X-Men The Last Stand so that they could definitely do the Dark Phoenix storyline. That's why when you got to Apocalypse, they inserted tons of hints of the Dark Phoenix storyline. It's like the entire X-Men franchise has been rebooted solely to serve the Dark Phoenix saga storyline. So if they do all of that work, spend all of that money, make all of those movies, and put that much effort into setting up the Dark Phoenix saga, you better not fuck it up. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm pissed that they're bringing back Jennifer Lawrence as fucking Mystique, because even though she's a great actress, she sucks ass in the X-Men movies. She doesn't give a shit about the character. She doesn't give a shit about her performance in those movies. She's decent in Days of Future Past, but she's an A-list Oscar-winning actress who's going to win many more Oscars before her career's over, and she's one of the weakest actors in that franchise. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse why she's allowed to demand that she's only supposed to wear the makeup for X amount of hours and X amount of days. That's why in Apocalypse, she was barely in the makeup. It's ridiculous. When you have Rebecca Romijn beats the living piss out of your take on the character, and you're an A-list Oscar-winning actress, that's a giant fucking red flag. So the fact that they're bringing her back is worrisome for me. That's the biggest thing that I have that I'm worried about, because they're not going to bring back Jennifer Lawrence to play a little small role. They're going to continue to make the franchise serve her. They're going to continue to make Mystique a C-level X-Men character, an A-level X-Men character. They're going to continue to make her the fucking person who trains the X-Men and leads the X-Men into battle and all this bullshit that should not be. So if they're going to do it, they better do the storyline right. They better make the storyline about Jean Grey and the Dark Phoenix. It better not be a Mystique action adventure that happens to take place around the Dark Phoenix storyline. Just, that's my biggest apprehension with that movie, is the fact that J-Law is coming back. I'm glad that they're bringing back Michael Fassbender. I'm ecstatic that they're bringing back James McAvoy. Couldn't give a fuck if Jennifer Lawrence ever came back to the X-Men franchise. And if they do bring her back, Simon Kinberg, who is the big guy who's in charge of the X-Men franchise, the big producer over there at Fox, who's been trying to push these movies to the Dark Phoenix saga, he's going to be the one directing this movie. He's finally getting his chance to direct a movie. First-time director, which is another big red flag. He better not take her shit. He better tell her, you're not going to make this decision. This is not your movie. You're going to wear the makeup or you're going to get the fuck out of my movie. That's what he needs to say. And that's the end of my... That could be another rant video right there. Maybe I'll retitle this Q&A plus Dark Phoenix Saga rant. Playtime Sid, have you read any DC Rebirth? No, but I bought 2 trade paperbacks for the Batman Rebirth storyline, and I bought the lenticulars of the first 2 issues of the Batman and Flash tie-in ones that have to do with the Watchmen. So I have some of them, I just haven't read them yet. Claudia, first heard about 4K TVs in your videos, now I have to get one. Yeah, they're incredible. Make sure you get one with HDR. Don't fall for the marketing trick of buying one that's on a good sale, because the ones that don't have HDR, which you could do your research on, it's high dynamic range, gives the TV a lot more fluidity, a lot more color range. If you don't buy one with HDR, you're basically buying a half 4K TV. Keith Vane, which are your top 3 favorite current actors? Tom Hardy, Leo DiCaprio, and, even though he hasn't done very much impressive lately, Robert De Niro. Scene 68. I miss Sega Dreamcast was a cool system. Yeah, I had Sega Genesis. I had tons of games for the Genesis. Always have love for that. Marcos Gaming, did you hear about Rogue One going to be on Netflix in July? Sounds interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of Rogue One. I liked it okay. I gave it a see it on Netflix. I was one of the few people who didn't love that movie. I felt it was overrated. I felt it was overblown. It was overhyped. I thought they really underused Darth Vader, even though Darth Vader has been in a lot of movies. He's important to that storyline, and he was barely in the fucking movie. I felt like all the characters in Rogue One were, they were half-assed used. They weren't really written to be all that strong. You didn't really get a chance to know a lot of them. Even the ones that were interesting, like the blind guy and his sidekick, like the guy who had like the life debt to him, you barely got to know anything about them. Did you ever find out why they had the life debt to each other? No. So I was disappointed in Rogue One, but that's cool that it's going to be on Netflix. Jonathan Hayden, although I'm very excited for it in September, it's crazy that I'm more excited for Halloween next year instead. Yeah, I'm more excited for it because I've been wanting them to remake that movie for years. So I think that it's going to kick ass. I think it's definitely going to kick ass financially. But I really hope that movie just blows people away. I want to be scared as fuck when I watch that movie because Pennywise and that fucked up sister Zelda from Pet Sematary are the only 2 characters in horror movies that have ever scared me when I was a kid. I watched Friday the 13th. Well, never mind. No, I didn't. I watched Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, Pet Sematary, all that shit when I was young. All the way back to when I was like 3-4 years old. And nothing ever gave me nightmares until Pennywise. And I want them to do that again. It's going to be hard. They're probably not going to scare me that bad, but I want to get as close as possible to that. Keith Vane, do you think 4K on the Xbox One is sufficient enough, or would it be better to get a 4K player? I'm not going to lie. There's been a few issues I've had with the Xbox where sometimes the signal will cut out for a couple seconds and come back on. I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player to compare it to, but I've heard a lot of rumblings that the Xbox One S is a good 4K Blu-ray player, but not a great one. So I think, judging by the small issues that I've had, and I mean small, like really small, other than that, it's phenomenal. The small issues that I've had with the rumblings I've heard online, it's probably better to get a 4K Blu-ray player if you have the money for it, but they're expensive as shit. Jonathan Hayden, Tyler. Um, Scene 68, I agree about Jennifer Lawrence. I miss Rebecca's portrayal. Yeah, me too, because she was dedicated to the character. She was sexy. She was physical. You could tell she wanted to deliver. She was there to serve the character. The character wasn't there to serve her. Scene 68, only worry is that J-Law is going to outshine Sophie Turner. It's going to be more like Dark Mystique and not Dark Phoenix. Yeah, exactly. Nostalgia fan, hope Tim Curry gets to cameo. I highly doubt it. And honestly, cameos are fun, but they're distracting. And I don't want to be distracted in an It movie. Like Ghostbusters. Even though the movie would have sucked regardless if those guys showed up or not, the cameos and the nods in that movie were extremely distracting. Jonathan Hayden. Michael Myers scared me as a kid growing up. Yeah, Michael Myers never really scared me too much as a kid. I always found him more fun than anything else, but being the fact that he did scare you as a kid, that's probably why you're more excited for the reboot than It, because it's the opposite for me. It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That's why I'm more excited for what's to come, possibly with a new one. But I'm really excited for the Halloween reboot. Is Tim Curry still alive? You wouldn't think it because you never hear about him, but yeah, he's still alive. Marcos Gaming. Chucky still scares me. Chucky never scared me. Chucky was actually the first horror movie I ever watched. Child's Play 3. And I always had fun with Chucky. I always had fun with Freddy. That's probably why they've always been my favorite horror icons, because I've always had the most fun with them. They're scary when they need to be, but they're also fun and entertaining to watch. Where you have, I'm not shitting on the characters by any means, but when you have characters like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, they're not fun. They're killers, and they're scary for some people, and they're definitely iconic, but they're not fun characters. So I've always drawn more to the fun, scary characters than I have the strong silent types. Jonathan Hayden, you look confused when I put Tyler. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was confused. So after I read so much, I totally forget shit that I've already said, so I didn't understand what you were referring to. But you called the guy that shot Alex, his name was Tyler, yeah. And we don't even know if he's the one who shot Alex. That's another question they left. Did Alex shoot himself? Did somebody else shoot him? We don't know. And was it even him? There was like 4 people who had motivations to shoot Alex. You called him Peter. Yeah, I knew it was wrong. I threw out a white guy's name. Claudia, I love Rutger Hauer, though. Yeah, Rutger Hauer's great. The Hitcher has always been my favorite Rutger Hauer movie. I mean, he's been great in a lot of things, but The Hitcher is just a classic. I watched that movie for the first time in years, like 2 months ago, and it's still awesome. Scene 68, what's your favorite horror movie remake? John Carpenter's The Thing. That's the easy answer, really. A lot of people don't realize it's a remake, but it is. If you're talking more recent remakes, the Texas Chainsaw remake, the one that came out in 2002, I think. Yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not just a horror movie, not just a remake. One of my favorite movies of all time. So that one will probably never be beat. But the Texas Chainsaw remake, just speaking on that one, is just such a awesome movie. Like, that's a remake done right, because they take it in directions that the original didn't. And that's the only reason to do a remake. If you're going to do a remake to a movie, either do something completely different or add some things in there that wasn't completely explored in the first movie. There's no reason to remake a movie and tell the exact same story, because that fucking story already exists. So when you have the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was really minimalistic, it's a bloodless movie. It's more... It doesn't land, which is why he made the second one, but there's some intended comedy there. It's much more of a grindhouse kind of snuff film flavor to it, and it's a very independent movie. And then you look at the remake, and the remake is much more of your traditional horror movie. It's very gory. It's very terrifying. Like, I'm not even going to exaggerate. I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in theaters with my dad, and I think he'll say the same thing. seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in the theater, in the dark, with never having seen a movie like that before, in surround sound, was the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. And that's no exaggeration. To date, I have not seen a movie that has chilled me down to my bone during the 90 minutes like that movie did. And that's part of the reason why I love it so much. But it's got really good direction, really good cinematography, great acting. There's not really weak performances in that movie at all. The guy who played Leatherface is badass and fucking terrifying. You got the great Arlie Ermy, who almost upstages Leatherface with how sick and twisted he is. Just everything about that movie is so different from the original and is so great and successful with what it tries to do that it's very underrated. Like, there's a lot of people who like it, but it's not really hailed as much as I think it should be. Let me see. Speaking of horror, have you heard or played Terror Dome? I've never even heard of it. Jonathan Hayden, I need to rant right here. Somebody I know said Friday the 13th remake was better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I call bullshit. I didn't like the Friday the 13th remake. Yeah, whoever said that is an idiot. I'm a big fan of the whole everything is subjective to each their own kind of thing, but there's no way you can argue that with me. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Total respect if anybody on here actually agrees with that the Friday the 13th remake is better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, but no. It's the same director, too. It's Marcus Nispel. The Friday the 13th remake is successful in certain aspects. I think it's the best Jason. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big Friday the 13th fanatic, so take that with a grain of salt, but I like the fast, aggressive, brutal version that Derek Mears brought in that movie. So I think Jason himself is a huge success. I think that the cinematography, just like in Texas Chainsaw, is great. I think the opening 15, 20 minutes of that movie is a flawless Friday the 13th movie, where they fast forward through the origin shit with the mother, and then you get 15 to 20 minutes of him just taking people out in badass ways, to the point where when you first watch it, you're like, God damn, they're killing everybody quick. And then you see the Friday the 13th title, and you're like, oh, okay, it's just the prologue. But once the movie actually gets going, the characters, with the exception of Daniel Panabaker and Jared Padalecki, all suck. The kills, for the most part, are very weak and unimaginative. And the ending, like the ending stinger that leads into the whole, the evil lives on, there will be a Friday the 13th sequel, Jason will return, is so fucking lazy. Like, they kick him into the water, and then they walk 2 feet to the right, and he busts through the boards, out of his chain somehow, has his mask back on somehow. It's so lazy. So, there's some things about that movie that's great, but there's a lot that's shitty with it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, however, has very few flaws in my mind, if any. I think it's damn near a perfect movie. So, yeah, that totally deserved rant there, Jonathan, because I agree with you. Friday the 13th remake was just a porno with Jason in it. Well, I mean, all Friday the 13th movies are pornos with Jason in it, let's just be honest. But yeah, they, just the dialogue in that, like, the one guy is, baby, you got stupendous tits. Like, what? Like, shit like that is just so weird. I liked how they kind of incorporated story elements from the first 4 films, because Friday the 13th isn't a movie that you go to, any of them, for storyline, so you can do that with Friday the 13th. You can fast track the storyline and some of the lore of multiple movies and mash it into one. So I like the approach. Execution, on the other hand, Keith Vane, to be honest, I didn't hate the Friday the 13th remake. I didn't hate it either. I don't hate it at all. But it's not a great movie. Scene 68, TCM remake was awesome. Yes, it was. Marcos Gaming, have you seen The Cabin in the Woods? I hate that movie. It's stupid. I love it. Yeah, it's not for everybody. I'm going to be upfront about that. Like, even though it's hailed as being a really great horror movie, horror comedy, it's not for everybody. There's a lot in that movie that takes a certain type of horror fan to kind of latch onto and to get and to appreciate. And if you're not that type of horror fan, you're not going to get it or like it or appreciate it. I've had some people tell me they have problems with the ending, what the ending resembles and what it means. So I really like that movie a lot, though. I think it's really inventive. Mike Rock movie reviews. What's going on, man? Keith Vane. It ain't better. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it ain't better. Jonathan Hayden. Yeah, Kane and Derek were the better Jasons. I agree. Here's the thing, though. I posted this question on Killer Flicks. And this has always confused me about the Friday the 13th franchise. Why is Kane Hodder hailed, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, I mean this as an honest question. Why is Kane Hodder hailed as being the best Jason? For the most part, everybody says that. When all of his movies are pretty much hated. He started being Jason in part 7, the one with the psychic, the New Blood, which most people don't like. There's people who do like it. It's definitely the least hated of all his movies. Then you get Jason Goes to Manhattan, which most people will say is the worst of the franchise and one of the worst horror movies ever made. Then you get Jason Goes to Hell, which I absolutely fucking hated. And then you get Jason X, which I actually have a lot of fun with, but a lot of people call it an abomination because it's the entire concept of sending Jason into space is too much for some people, I guess. But you get those 4 movies, and I understand he's played Jason the most. I understand that he's kind of the bigger, bulkier, maybe more brutal version of Jason, arguably. But I find it ironic that everybody hates his fucking movies, but they all hail him as the best Jason. So you get guys like Ted White, who are in the 4th one, which a lot of people would say is their favorite. You get guys like Richard Brooker, who played him in the 3rd movie, who a lot of people would say was their favorite. You get guys like, I forget the guy who played him in 6, but like the guy who played him in 6, who a lot of people would say is their favorite. So it's just funny to me how I always hear the name Kane Hodder. Whenever people say Jason, it's synonymous with Kane Hodder, and Kane Hodder is synonymous with Jason. But everybody hates his movies. I always thought it was funny. Derek Mears to me was the best Jason. Close second was Ted White. I actually really, really like the 4th one and the 6th one. But the 6th one's more of a fun movie, not necessarily a straight-up horror movie. That one's more of a kind of a parody in a way, in some ways. It's a very self-aware horror movie. Scene 68, I agree, Jonathan. It's just teens having sex, really. But yeah, like I said, that's the whole franchise. Jonathan Hayden, honestly, I will say when I first seen it, I was shocked Danielle Panabaker got killed off. They set her up to be the final girl. Yeah, that was a good scene, though. That was one of those surprises that's good, because they turn horror movie tropes on its head. And you're right. You expect her to live, then she gets a machete shoved through her, and you're like, holy shit! Scene 68, what do you think of the Hellraiser movies? Pinhead, I think, is an underrated horror villain. He's definitely under-discussed. I really like the first Hellraiser. Don't put me in horror fan jail, but I actually saw Hellraiser for the first time like 4 months ago. It's one of the series that for whatever reason just always escaped me. So I went out and I bought the first 2 movies. It was a dual DVD, or dual Blu-ray. Watched the first one, really liked it. Really understood why that became a franchise, why he became an icon. It was a really cool movie. Didn't like the second one at all. Second one was very weird. Started off cool, very strange. Never seen any of the other ones. I've heard 3 is the most, like, accessible, but not loved by any means. I've heard 4 is the beginning of the horrible of the franchise, and everything after 4 is, like, avoided at all costs level of bad. I don't know if that's universal or if that's just the few people I've heard talk about it, but Pinhead is definitely badass. Like, that's... If it wasn't for the fact that they keep hiring the worst actors in the world to play Pinhead when they don't have Doug Bradley to do it, like the guy that they had in the Hellraiser, was it Revelations? And then the guy that the picture they just released, who's like fat Pinhead. If it wasn't for the fact that apparently they can't recast the motherfucker to save their life, I would say that Hellraiser would be due for a remake. I think they could do Hellraiser and do something cool with it. But you have to nail Pinhead. You have to get a lean, charismatic, brooding, gruff actor to play Pinhead. You have to deliver those lines and make them the most iconic part of the movie. You can't have Pinhead suck in a Hellraiser movie. So until they get their shit straight with being able to recast Doug Bradley, don't attempt it. But I would be up for a Hellraiser remake. Jonathan Hayden's seventh one is probably my favorite in the series. Don't hate on me, man. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not a big Friday the 13th fan, so I don't pretend to know the whole, the whole spectrum of fandom with that series. A lot of people have different ones with their favorites. Like Nightmare on Elm Street. I can have a serious conversation with people if they tell me that Dream Child or Freddy's Dead is their favorite. But Friday the 13th, I can't say too much. Scene 68. I thought the guy who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason did great. You're among the few, my friend. You're among the few, because Ken Kersinger is often talked about as the worst Jason. He was the stunt guy for Kane Hodder in a lot of films, and that was kind of like his free shot, I guess, to play Jason. And I don't remember, if I remember correctly, because I did a shitload of behind the scenes, and I had a big interest in Freddy vs. Jason when that movie first came out. I was a fucking obsessor about that movie. And Ken Kersinger, basically, I don't remember the exact reason they gave that Kane Hodder wasn't going to return. I don't know if they just didn't want that version of Kane, or that of Jason, or if it was a salary dispute. But Ken Kersinger's version of Jason, to me, is kind of a dumbed down version of Jason. He's slower. He's not quite as menacing. He's very slow zombie Jason. Now, that may have been their intention all along, because, let's be honest, even though I love Freddy, if Freddy's going to fight Jason, you have to tone Jason down a little bit. So I think maybe that was why they couldn't figure out a way to get Robert Englund's version of Freddy to effectively fight the Kane Hodder version of Jason. But anyway, that's a huge tangent. But you're among the few who love Ken Kersinger, I'll tell you that. I really don't have that strong of an opinion on him. I thought Freddy vs. Jason is awesome. Would it have been better with Kane Hodder? Possibly. But I don't hate the guy, Ken Kersinger, what he did. Keith Vane, Jason X is corny fun. I don't care what people say. Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy that movie. It's not, it's so bad it's good. That's the way you describe it. Favorite Jason is the remake? Yeah, I agree. Mike Rock asks, hey, Cody, out of the Marvel Netflix series, how would you rank them? Okay, so bottom is definitely, by a landslide, Iron Fist. So, this is the top 5, basically. So, number 5 is Iron Fist. Number 4 is Luke Cage. Number 3, and this is going to be controversial, Daredevil Season 1. Number 2, Jessica Jones Season 1. And number 1 is Daredevil Season 2. I was talking about it a little bit earlier. Iron Fist, couldn't get past the second episode. I hated it. Luke Cage, I suffered through the whole season, but I was not enjoying it. I liked the first couple episodes. I liked a couple spots here and there, but it was very corny, very cheesy, very just weird. It's just an odd show. The pacing was off. The villains were ridiculous, like Diamondback and all that shit. Just didn't do anything for me. Daredevil Season 1, really liked it. Didn't love it. Had some pacing issues. And I feel like it was overhyped when it first came out. Everybody was just all over Daredevil's dick. And I was like, yeah, I like it. I'm not as high on it as everybody else. Jessica Jones Season 1 got criticized quite a bit. I loved that whole season. I was enthralled with that season. I loved Kilgrave, especially. One of the best villains, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. I think Kristen Ritter is awesome. I love her, like, sexy snarkiness, where she's just... I love her character in She's Out of My League. Ever since I saw her in that, I've loved Kristen Ritter. So I loved everything about that show. I thought it was great. The whole noir, investigative caper story with a superhero element to it, I just really enjoyed. And then there's no question that Daredevil Season 2 is the best. I mean, Daredevil and the Punisher, especially the first, 5 episodes or 6 episodes of that season, is just some of the best that you're ever going to see. Jonathan Hayden, when there was 2 girls and 1 guy, I thought you were going to say 2 girls, 1 cup. Like, wait a minute, where are you going? when there was two girls and one guy, I knew one of the girls was going to get it. I think that would have been crazy if it was Whitney instead. Danielle Panabaker isn't that bad of an actress. I think she's a really good actress, actually. But yeah, they wanted to keep brother and sister together, I guess. Jonathan Hayden, her character was probably the most chill out of all the teens, in my opinion. Like, she wasn't annoying and you weren't rooting for her to die. Yeah, she was definitely among the best. The other characters were just either really weak or horribly annoying. Scene 68, are you going to check out Annabelle 2? Annabelle 2, absolutely. Am I excited for it? No. I'm one of the few people, I didn't hate the first Annabelle. I didn't think it was good, but when I watched it, I didn't feel like slitting my wrists or anything like that. I mean, it was just kind of a halfway decent little demon possession movie. It had some decent scares in it. This next one is directed by David F. Sandberg, who's the guy who directed Lights Out. He's kind of James Wan's little partner in crime now. So for that fact alone, I'm curious about it. It looks like it's going to be a more interesting story. And the buzz that I'm hearing about it already is that it's much, much, much better than Annabelle. So I'm always up for a good horror movie. Am I going to walk out loving it? I doubt it. It's probably going to be similar to how I felt about Ouija Origin of Evil, where it's like, holy shit, this is way better than the first one. Still don't love it, but it's way better. Claudia says, the dolls in Penny Dreadful Season 2 were a lot scarier than Annabelle. Actually, the guy that created Penny Dreadful would be a great horror movie director. Yeah, I never actually watched all of Penny Dreadful. I watched the pilot episode, and I thought it was awesome. But then Season 2 came, and I had gotten busy with all the other shows that are out there, because it's impossible to watch everything. Then Season 3 came along, and I was just getting ready to start watching it again, and they announced that it was going to be canceled. And I heard from pretty much everybody that the season finale was either rushed or unsatisfying. So I don't like to start shows that I know eventually I'm going to get to the spot where it's going to get cut off and I'm going to be pissed. Jonathan Hayden, how did you think Jessica Biel did in the Texas Chainsaw remake? I thought she was great. She looked great. Her acting was great. I never had any problem with it. I thought she was awesome in that, to be honest with you. She was annoying in a few spots whenever she was kind of like the moral high ground of the group. She wouldn't let them leave the body. She wouldn't let them go anywhere. Like, she kept pressuring her boyfriend to do everything that she wanted to do and got them all fucking killed. But you have to have one of those characters in the movie. You know, otherwise they would all be smart. They would have dropped the dead bitch off on the side of the highway and they would have went and jammed out the Leonard Skinner. So you have to have that character, but I thought she was really good. Wildcat. Okay, my question. Who the fuck are you? Let's see. The guy who runs this channel, the guy who is running this video right now, and the guy who's wondering why the fuck you're on my Q&A asking stupid-ass questions. Jonathan Hayden. It's funny that Danielle Panabaker was a Disney Channel actress and was not bad in a horror movie. I've always liked her. I've never seen a bad performance from her. She's not somebody that I've, been blown away by, but I've always liked her. Jonathan Hayden, he's my homie. Yeah, that's right. Shut the fuck up, Wildcat. Marcos Gaming, Scene 68, they're making another Chucky movie. Yeah, they're making Cult of Chucky. It's going to be a follow-up to Curse of Chucky, and it's going to take place in an asylum where the girl who survived at the end of Curse of Chucky and got blamed for all of the murders is going to once again be stalked by Chucky, and it's going to have Tiffany back to some degree. I'm hearing it's going to have Glenn and Glenda back to some degree, which scares the fuck out of me. But I am really looking forward to Cult of Chucky. Mike Rock, what do you think of the series Gotham? Have no interest in watching it. Haven't seen a single episode of it. I'm intrigued about the Jerome proto-Joker character because he seems interesting. And the fact that he's using the Death of the Family version of Joker with the skin being taken off of his face and put back on. But I have no interest in a Batman show that's not about Batman. So I don't like the idea of all these villains having origins when Batman is a little kid. And some of these villains, in Batman lore, a lot of these villains came out of fruition because Batman existed. Very similar to how the Joker was in The Dark Knight, where he existed because Batman existed to a degree. So it's kind of sacrilegious to me to have a Gotham City-centric show with all of the main Batman villains already in existence before Batman even is out of puberty. It's just weird to me. Scene 68, would love for them to do a Child's Play remake or bring Chucky back to the big screen as long as Brad Dourif returns. Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I would have thought that before Curse of Chucky, but to me, Curse of Chucky is exactly like a theatrical run of a Chucky movie. Even though it was released to DVD, Blu-ray, and VOD directly, it's everything that I would have gotten from a theatrical Chucky to me. And so I have no problems with it being released on VOD, other than the fact that it would make more money in theaters and that will keep the series going a little bit longer, unless I'm misunderstanding how much money VOD movies make. I would love for them to get it back to the theater at some point, but as long as the movies are as good as Curse of Chucky, I'm fine with it staying where it's at. I don't think we need a Child's Play remake quite yet, though. But if they do decide to do it, you're damn right. They got to get Brad Dourif to return. There's nobody who can voice that like Brad Dourif. Claudia, the creator, said Penny Dreadful was not canceled. It was meant to be 3 seasons from the start. You should go back because it's really good. I don't know. That contradicts everything that I've read about it. I heard that they canceled it, so we had to kind of fast track the ending of it. But who knows? It's possible that was more of a damage control statement that he made to not freak everybody out about not watching his show. But Jonathan Hayden, I agree on Jessica. I thought she did way better than the redhead chick. Yeah, the redhead chick wasn't too bad either. Masked Idiots asks, could you do a Draw My Life, please? I'm unfamiliar with what a Draw My Life is, so elaborate on what a Draw My Life is, and I'll consider it. Jonathan Hayden, are you going to get back into American Horror Story? I know you said you kind of fell off after season 4, but trust me, I wouldn't recommend anything bad for you, but Hotel and season 6 were really good. Well, I mean, yeah, I fell off, but I never really left the show as far as not giving it a chance. The thing is, I watched season 1, and I absolutely loved it. Good Lord. Are you comfortable, Jax? Jesus Christ. Come on, get up here. But I watched season 1, and I loved season 1. Loved it. I've actually watched that season twice. Asylum, which seems to be everybody's favorite, I kind of liked and kind of didn't like. It seemed like the kitchen sink. Like they were just throwing everything they could possibly think of into one season. Aliens, demon possession, fucking zombies, everything. And the whole serial killer thing with Bloody Face. So it was too much going on. Coven, hated it. I liked it when it first started. I liked the fact that Stevie Nicks hung around for it. But to me, it was one of those seasons where the whole season, everybody that died got resurrected over and over and over and over again. So I lost all sense of tension. I didn't give a shit if anybody died because I didn't believe they were going to stay dead. And the whole thing with Evan Peters being like a Frankenstein where he couldn't speak or anything like that, and he was just fucking all the girls. Like the thing with Ryan Murphy, and the thing that it's been worse for every season of American Horror Story since season 1 to me, is that he injects too much sexual shit where it doesn't necessarily need to be there. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for if you want to throw sex into a movie or a TV show if it fits, but like it just seems like it's forced. Like Evan Peters only existed to fuck everybody, and it was just weird. Season 4, I got 4 episodes into it and didn't care for it at all. Dropped off of it, never had the desire to go back. Season 5, watched the first 2-3 episodes, dropped off of it, never had the reason to go back. What was that? It was season 5, Hotel, I think. So then you had the Roanoke, and I watched the first 3 episodes of that, and just me and Holly just did not get into it at all. I had no desire to keep watching, so it's not like I don't give the show a chance. I always come back and watch at least the first couple episodes, but they're just not good to me. They're not interesting. They're not... It just seems like they don't have enough time to write these stories like they did the first season, and there's so many times when it just, like I said, it's just weird shit thrown in. Like, was it Hotel when the guy had like it was out of nowhere, this thing came out and had like this giant razor sharp dildo and started fucking a dude in his ass. And it was just like weird shit like that just thrown in. So I don't know, it just American Horror Story to me, it's lost me. If they come up with something interesting for the next season, like I've been hearing rumblings about maybe it having to do with Halloween or something weird like that, I might give it a couple more episodes a chance, but just Just doesn't do much for me. Scene 68, why do you think video game adaptations don't do well? The last good movie based off a game to me was Mortal Kombat. Well, I go into this on my Uncharted rant. One of the main reasons, aside from the fact that nobody's made a good one enough to where studio execs will shut the fuck up and let people actually make a movie, they all think they have the idea of what makes the game great when they don't know anything about the game. Aside from that, and until we have somebody that paves the way with one great one, that's not going to change. Aside from that, one of the main things that bugs me, and is one of the main reasons why they don't land with video game fans, is because they don't respect the source material. They don't respect the story or the characters or what makes the games great. They just borrow the name and throw a movie out. You have games like Assassin's Creed, which you could really make a great movie out of that, but they borrow the name, they create a different character that has nothing to do with the game, they create a storyline that has nothing to do with the game, and they throw the style and the look and the title of Assassin's Creed on it and call it an Assassin's Creed movie. And it fucking failed because the movie sucked and it has nothing to do with the video games. Then you have the Resident Evil movies, which is probably the most successful video game movies, at least financially. And even though they're dumb fun, they have nothing to do with the video games. They don't follow the storyline. They barely follow the characters. And again, it's just the thing with Uncharted, which I already ranted about on a video and on here. They're not respecting the video games. People love Uncharted because they love Nathan Drake. Not young Nathan Drake, adult Nathan Drake. They love the storyline. They love Sully. They love Elena. They love all the characters. And they want to see what they love about the damn video game translated over to the screen. They don't want to see Uncharted on a movie that's not Uncharted. And until you get studio execs and screenwriters and directors who are all on the same page about what makes the game great, what fans of the video game want to see, and they bring that to the screen, you're not going to get any successful video game movies. And it's one of the reasons why I was ranting on Uncharted and why it's going to fail if they go this way, even if it's a halfway decent movie, because you're going to piss off the fans of the video games for the most part. And who the fuck do you think are going to see these video game movies? Because Uncharted, for example, when you play the trailer for Uncharted, whenever they get the movie done, you're going to have people who are familiar with the video game and love the video game who are going to go, what the fuck is this? This is not Nathan Drake. I'm not going to see it. It's probably going to suck anyway because it's a video game movie. So you lost your core audience right there. Then you're going to get people who aren't fans of the video game who are going to go, that's the kid from Spider-Man trying to be Indiana Jones. I don't know if I want to see that. And then the people who actually do go to see it is going to be such a minute number of people that it's not going to be as successful as it needs to be. You're not going to have a greenlit sequel, and now you fucked your Uncharted series because you don't appeal to the video game fans who are the people you need to appeal to above anybody else. Jonathan Hayden, your dog's so cute. I want a dog so bad. Yeah, he's a cute little bastard. Mike Rock, what do you think of the 2004 movie The Punisher? I was talking about it earlier. I really like that movie. It's got its flaws, but I really like Thomas Jane a lot. Jonathan Hayden, I kind of want them to do a reboot on the Resident Evil movies. I thought they were bad. They are doing a reboot with James Wan as a producer. We were talking about it a little earlier. But unless they follow the story of the video games, I don't have any interest in it. Unless it's going to take off with the mansion storyline, the Spencer mansion, with Jill and Barry and Chris and all the other members of STARS, and eventually leading up to Wesker becoming the villain at the very end, and the Tyrant, and what is it, Lisa something, the monster, the really scary part of the game. Unless they're adapting those elements of that first video game, I don't give a fuck about any reboot they do. I don't care who they put in front of it. Claudia, I feel like Brad Dourif should have had a much better career. He's so charismatic even when he's in a movie for just 2 minutes. I'm in awe of him. Yeah, I mean, he's a B-movie actor. I don't think he's disappointed with his own career. I think he chose that career. You know, he's never been an A-lister. He never will be. He was great whenever you see him, especially in the Rob Zombie movies, especially the second one, surprisingly. He's really good in those. So he's great at what he does, but I think he kind of chose the career he wanted. Scene 68, American Horror Story lost its edge after season 3. It just went downhill. They should have left it with the haunted house aspect. I agree. Keith Fain, favorite Tarantino movie besides Pulp Fiction, if that's your favorite. Pulp Fiction is my favorite directed by Quentin Tarantino. As far as favorite movie that he wrote, True Romance wins by a landslide. I love that fucking movie. Tony Scott directed it. It's the only movie I think that Quentin Tarantino wrote that he didn't actually direct, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. If you're talking strictly movies that he directed, second place behind Pulp Fiction is probably. Damn, that's hard. Probably Reservoir Dogs. I really like Inglorious Bastards a lot. I really like Django Unchained. If it wasn't for the fact that Jamie Foxx is in it, because I fucking hate Jamie Foxx. He's a racist asshole. Um, I wasn't too keen on Hateful Eight. I think it was a big vanity project. I feel like it was overly long. It was overly dialogue heavy. It was almost obnoxious how dialogue heavy it was. Still a good story, but just not mind blowing whatsoever. Jackie Brown, never quite got into that one too much. I've never really been a fan of blaxploitation films or even knowledgeable about that era of film, so that movie doesn't quite land for me. Uh, Kill Bill, I need to give another shot. I'm not a big anime fan or kung fu movie fan or anything like that, so obviously the first one's not going to land for me. The second one's a little more spaghetti western. I can watch that one and enjoy it, but by no means are my favorite. So I'll say Pulp Fiction with Reservoir Dogs just behind it if you're talking about directed. If you're talking about written movie, True Romance wins. Jari Litman and choose System of a Down or Metallica. Metallica. Metallica is one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm not a fan of System of a Down at all, actually. I can't stand that guy's voice. I know people love him, and I know I'm in the minority, but I just can't. Playtime Sid, hi, I'm back. And have you ever watched Prison Break? I have. I actually had the Blu-ray box set, the import. I loved season 1. Season 2 is the best. Season 3 is very drawn. Well, it's actually a shortened season, isn't it? I think that was the writer's strike season, but it reeks of a writer's strike season because it's very uneven and very repetitive. Season 4, I never actually watched because by the time I got through season 3, I was so burnt out on the recycled Prison Break storyline over and over and over again, and that's the reason why the show got canceled after season 4. And I never bothered with the revival. From what I hear, I'm not missing anything. The problem with that show is that they introduced a concept, but they didn't know how to expand on it and continue with making the storyline evolve. They just kept redoing the break concept, which I know the show is called Prison Break, but you don't have to stick to that storyline. What they did in season 2 was great, where it's the aftermath of the prison break and they're on the run, and it was gripping. And William Fichtner's character was wicked, especially whenever his true motivations came out. And just the first 2 seasons are great television. First season's a little bit too long, especially whenever I watched it. I actually watched the first season on TV, like when it was a brand new show. And when you get to the mid-season finale, whenever they get ready to escape, and that little pipe is stuck in the wall, it blocks their escape. Whenever that split the season in half, that really drew it out way too long for me. But the first season's really good. I've rewatched it a few times. The second season's the best, and beyond that, just it's not really worth watching past that, in my opinion. Jonathan Hayden, new season will follow the aftermath of the election, like it's going to show how the characters' lives are affected. Kind of going to get a suburban thing. Yeah, that doesn't interest me at all. I heard rumblings that it was going to be about the Trump election, but to me that felt more like the Hollywood liberal machine trying to make a statement. I didn't realize they were actually going to go through with it. But that doesn't really interest me too much. A post-election horror story. Scene 68, you should check out the new Resident Evil anime. It's pretty dope. Yeah, I haven't watched any of the anime shows. I've heard they're a lot better than the movies, though, because they're actually continuations of the game. Jonathan A. Hayden, did you realize the guy in the comments ain't talking shit no more? Yeah. The thing with these live things is that they show up, like people who search on the homepage, it'll show up on there, and you get trolls that come in once in a while where they're not even subscribers, they're not fans of what I do, they don't even care what's going on, they just come in and say some stupid shit and leave. I have it every single time. It's just make fun of them and they go away. Eric Whitmore, Metallica's great. Yes, they are. On a very big comeback swing after that last album. The last album was pretty damn good. Scene 68. What are your thoughts about Eli Roth and his movies? I like the unique aspect of Cabin Fever, being that it's a slasher movie without a slasher. It's interesting. I think his humor gets in the way of the movie of being great, but it's interesting. Hostel, I really liked whenever it. Well, correction. When I first saw Hostel, I was like traumatized by watching it. I thought I had just watched a snuff movie with real people getting killed practically. Me and my dad saw it, and literally for the first 2, 3 hours after we walked out of Hostel, we felt weird as fuck. Like, we just felt uncomfortable. We were barely speaking. I had a Seven Dust album in this car, and whenever we drove away from the theater, we turned the radio off because the angry Seven Dust vibes was too much to handle. I mean, I'm not even joking. We just felt like traumatized, literally. And then after I kind of desensitized to it a little bit, I grew to like Hostel quite a bit. I thought it was a good movie. I liked the sequel even better to a degree. And I can't watch the movies anymore because something clicked. I don't know if it was becoming a father. I don't know if it's just getting older. I don't know if my movie taste just changed, but I don't enjoy senseless torture violence anymore. Not that I enjoyed it ever, but I specifically don't enjoy it now. To where I have absolutely no reason and no desire to go and watch Hostel anymore. I have no reason or desire to put in a movie where the only thing that I'm going to get out of it is seeing people get brutalized and ripped apart in such a realistic way that it just for whatever reason doesn't sit well with me anymore, which is weird coming from a horror fan because I'll watch slashers all day long. I'll watch Jason Voorhees rip somebody's intestines out their ass. It just doesn't bother me in the same way, but when I watch Hostel, it feels like too real or something like that anymore. So I don't get into it. I can't appreciate those movies anymore. I didn't care for Knock Knock at all. I didn't care for The Green Inferno at all. So I don't think Eli Roth is that great of a filmmaker. I think he's for the reason why he's hailed as like one of the new horror icon directors is strange to me. I'm curious what the fuck he's gonna do with this Death Wish remake with Bruce Willis. It just, I don't know. He's a guy who's what he does is interesting enough to me, but it's either really, really over the top, strange, off the wall humor, or really, really over the top, gratuitous torture violence. Neither of which interests me anymore. Not that the stupid humor ever interested me. Jonathan Hayden, yeah, what you said of the Resident Evil movie is what I want because I love the first game where they're in the mansion. If they made the whole movie like that, I'd be so good. That's what I want to see. Me too. Eric Whitmore, you like Metallica, right? Yes, I do. Keith Vane, I didn't love Kill Bill at all. Yeah, that's a movie where it's either a love letter to you or you just, it's not for you at all. And it's not for me at all. So, what the hell time is it even? Jesus Christ. 1 a.m. Okay. Probably do this for another 10 minutes, guys, and then I'll cut it off because it's late. Jerry Litman and Wrong Choice. Well, that's my choice, buddy. Sorry. Eric Whitmore, do you like Slipknot? I like Slipknot. I don't love Slipknot. I'm a huge Stone Sour fan. That's my favorite band of all time. Slipknot to me is very unique, but some of it's too heavy for me because I'm not. I love Corey Taylor, but I'm not a big fan of extreme like scream vocals, even when he does them. And Slipknot to me, I mean, there's 9 band members in that, and there's so much going on that sometimes it just feels like noise to me. Not in the insulting way. It's just so different. And to be completely fair, it's not like I've put in an entire Slipknot album, but for the most part, there's like 5 or 6 songs that I really like from Slipknot. I really like The Devil and I, the one that just came out, this past album. I really like Duality. I really like pretty much all the singles from their 4th album. I really like fuck, I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but there's about 6 songs that I really like by Slipknot. But pretty much every song that I've heard outside of those 6 songs, I'm not too big of a fan of. But I love Corey Taylor. Mike Rock, what are your thoughts about Joss Whedon and his shows and his movies? I haven't seen too many of his TV shows, honestly. I never saw Buffy. I never saw, what the hell was it with Elijah Dushku? I don't remember. But I haven't seen too many of his shows. I think he's great with his comic book movies. The Avengers movies are both great. Even the second one. I really like Cabin in the Woods. We were talking about that. I really like Firefly. Actually, is the only show of his that I really know, and I really like that show a lot. So, the little bit of experience that I have with Joss Whedon, I really like. Keith Vane, Eli Roth does great gore, but he's too much with the humor. I agree. Claudia, I was shocked that the cinema theaters actually had the Hostel poster on display. Yeah, that's a rough ass movie. Jonathan Hayden, have you seen The Green Inferno by Eli Roth? Yuck. I don't like gory movies like that. I used to be scared, but not, or I like to be scared, not grossed out. Yeah, it's a bad movie. It's all the weird humor. It's over the top, gory, and it's just senseless violence for shock value. That's all he can do is shock value. Almost Sideways, making his debut right before I cut out. What do you think about the new title of the newest Saw film, Jigsaw, and what do you think they will do in the film? I'm just confused by Jigsaw, to be honest with you. The motherfucker's been dead since the 3rd movie. I mean, he's like, it's 10 years later and the dude's still running shit. Like, I just don't understand where they're gonna go with it. The only plot synopsis they've given is that basically it's just going to be a return of the franchise, and they're going to up the ante with the torture. So torture porn isn't a trend anymore. So I don't know if the movie's even going to land. And I don't know what the hell the story's going to be, because the fact that that movie went on for 7 movies was already ridiculous. You know, I like the first one for some of the aspects of it. I think Carrie Elways almost ruins the movie. I really like the second one. I remember the third one being pretty good. After that, it was ridiculous to me. I thought every single one after that was a little bit worse. And it was so... It's one of the same reasons why it took me so long to warm up to Scream. Whenever there's a franchise that all of a sudden non-horror fans become horror fans over, and Saw was one of those franchises, I get annoyed and I get very turned off to it. Like, everybody was all about Saw. Every fucking Halloween, everybody... Saw 4's out. Oh my god, everybody, we gotta go see Saw 4. Saw 5's out. We gotta go see Saw 5. And I was like, man, fuck Saw. I don't care about those movies. There's so many better horror movies out there that you guys aren't watching. You're wasting your time on Saw because it's a gimmick. Paranormal Activity, another one. So, I'm not a gigantic fan of the Saw movies. I don't hate them. I just think that it was ridiculous that it was that big of a huge phenomenon. As far as the new movie, I have no idea what to expect. It's been long enough, they have to have come up with some decent story idea. Otherwise, it's going to be another movie like Rings, where it comes out and you're like, what was that? Green Inferno, try to be Cannibal Holocaust, yeah. Scene 68, what TV cartoon or animation you love from your childhood would love to see made into a movie? Sailor Moon, but they will fuck it up. Into a movie? None, really. I'd like to see revivals of some of the shows. Like, they're doing a revival of Hey Arnold. They're doing a revival of Rocko's Modern Life. Shit like that I'd like to see. Turn them into a movie? None of them. Playtime Sid, regarding trolls in your streams, if you ever need a moderator, I would gladly assist. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Feel free. Claudia, LOL. Jonathan Hayden, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Have a good night. I'm going to get tipsy and smoke some weed. LOL. Happy you have a good day tomorrow as well. I hope you have a good night too, man. Enjoy. Mike Rock, I question why Keanu Reeves signed up to do Knock Knock. Yeah, I don't know either. It was interesting. That's the only reason why I wanted to see it, was because it was curious why he was even involved in it in the first place. Claudia, he signed up for it but felt so awkward. Yeah. Jonathan Hayden, last comment. Saw series sucks. I'm sorry to Saw fans. Yeah, it's overrated as fuck. Mike Rock, I agree, Claudia. Awesome. Well, alright guys, that does it for me. I've been doing this for 3 hours and 12 minutes. Holy crap, that flew by. But I'm glad that you guys stuck around. Sorry about the issues I was having earlier, so I'll just do my 4G from now on instead of messing with my Wi-Fi. But last question, what remake do you demand Hollywood does not make? Back to the Future. Never remake Back to the Future. It's a perfect movie. There's nothing you can do to better it or change it. Don't fuck with it. So that's the answer to that question. But yeah, getting ready to head out. God damn, I look tired. Whoa, look at those eyes. So yeah, you guys take care. Have a good night. Thank you for the support. 1,100 subscribers is awesome. Keep an eye out for some of the new stuff I was talking about earlier. If you guys were here at the beginning of the stream, thank you for all the awesome questions. 3.5 hours and 13 minutes of questions. That's impressive for not only me, but you guys that you stuck in that long. So glad we got to do this again. Very proud of 1,100 subscribers. You guys are all awesome. So thank you so much. And you guys all have a very good night. And I will check you later.